whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know who's in charge here, but we make vertical videos for social media. I need to be talking about why people should be following us on Ravensburger North American's Instagram account. Yeah, that one. So maybe you should just show them like past videos that I've done of cool board games, or for this crowd, let's show them some cool puzzles that we've made. No, not that one. No, come on. You can do better than that. Now that's more like it. All right. Whoa. Whoa. All right. Yeah, that's good. No, yeah, that's good. Stop. 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 Okay. Finally. Reason 1. We relentlessly represent Ravensburger, revolutionizing the realm of rapid puzzling with remarkable content and comprehension. Oh, come on!
This is a work of art.
It's cold! A big open knobs, it has the juice.
At the very least, show them some of the new puzzles. Ugh. You didn't even show them the image? No. We're not ending it there. That's not how we're ending it. No, like and subscribe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 USA Jigsaw Nationals. It is Saturday morning. We are starting off bright and early with our first teams round. It's teams preliminary round 1. I am joined today by co-host Rob Shields from the podcast Peace Talks. Welcome, Rob.
I'm thrilled to be here in this packed area with all the lighting is beautiful in here.
Yep.
I'm thrilled. Can't wait to get started on this.
It's going to be so much fun. We have so many great teams to talk about today. They are going to zoom through these puzzles. It's going to be great. But first, to get us started, we're going to cut to Allie Krasny, one of our board members, and she's going to make a few announcements and give us our countdown to get the action going. So thanks for joining us this morning, everybody.
All right, everyone, welcome to the USA Jigsaw Nationals Teams Prelims. We're so excited to be here with you on day 2 of our 2025 Jigsaw Nationals. This is the prelims heat 1 for our teams. There are 100 teams in this room, so 400 people puzzling at the same time. You all will be completing 2 1,000-piece puzzles within 3 hours. All of these puzzles, of course, unreleased, thanks to our big, wonderful sponsor, Ravensburger. Give them a round of applause. There will be 50 of these teams advancing to our finals, which is tomorrow on Sunday. It will be our very final event for the weekend. So puzzle as fast as you can to be one of those top 50. Before we get started, we'll just do a quick couple of announcements and rules recap, and then we'll get going. So you all should have already been reading this. Only a few things to highlight. If there are corrections to make to your name sheet, you can do that now or before the results get turned in, so don't worry too much about that. There are papers on your table. They do have to both stay on there, but you are allowed to adjust them however you want to. Really important rule is being a good puzzle neighbor, as we've talked about before. We know there's going to be more talking because you're teams, but please make sure that you're not disrupting your neighbors, and that means not getting too loud, not singing, not humming, things like that. So those are just a few little tips, and then we'll talk about the rules really quick. How does this work, especially since it's a little different from our solos and pairs? So we will do the same 5-second countdown. Start the timer and say go. When we say go, that's when you'll be allowed to open the first of your 2 puzzle bags. So everyone should have a bag on their table. That's the one we're going to start with. Pretty good system, I know. It has a blue sticker on it. If yours doesn't have a blue sticker on it, please raise your hand and let a volunteer know. There will be a second puzzle on the floor next to your table that should have a red sticker on it. If that one does not have a red sticker on it, please let a volunteer know. So when we say go, you will open up that first bag and that first puzzle. The puzzle box should have all of the seals cut. If for some reason it doesn't, please stand, raise your hand, let a volunteer know as soon as possible. We will get someone to rush over there, cut those for you, and record your delay. Don't try to open it yourselves. Let us do that. That way we can record the proper delay for you. As you get close to finishing, if you don't see someone nearby to record your time, kind of raise your hand, flag someone, let them know you're getting close. Though we have 20 awesome volunteers, give them a round of applause. They will be keeping a close eye on you guys, so they'll know. So they will be around to record when you finish puzzle number 1. When you finish puzzle number 1, we need your hands to come up off the table, everyone's hands, so we know that you are done. There will be a volunteer to record your time. Once they record your time and give you the confirmation that they've got your time, then you may disassemble your puzzle. It must go into your box, and then your box must come off of the table before you can open your next bag. You may hold your bag, but you may not open it until that puzzle is in the box and off the table. Good? All right. Missing pieces, we've talked about this already this weekend, but for anyone who hasn't done the other competitions, if you have a missing piece, there's a 10-second penalty. If you have a few missing pieces, it's still the same 10-second penalty. It's no longer a per-piece penalty. Look on the floor for the Shandling Shim yellow sticky notes to see if your missing piece is there. But if after 10 seconds you can't find your piece, we'll record your time and either move on to your next puzzle or you'll be finished. There will be a PAA on your results sheet. If the penalty has already been applied, that lets us know. If I can get a little more silence for a little bit longer, that would be awesome, you guys. All right. I promise, almost done. If you run out of time after the end of 3 hours, it is 2,000-piece puzzles. It's a lot, we know. If you run out of time, we will do a countdown, and then we will count your unassembled pieces. Clusters of 2 or more count towards your assembled piece count. Anything that's 1 piece we'll put into piles of 10, and we'll get those counted. When the volunteer records the results, they should be getting a thumbs up confirmation from you that your results, you agree with them, it looks good, and then they will whisk it away. That way we avoid any errors, so please make sure to do that confirmation with them. And volunteers, please make sure to do that confirmation with the teams. To a few last minute logistics. If you were in the pairs round yesterday, but not in the solo round, you still get a swag bag. Swing by the Ravensburger booth when it's not busy, please, and you can pick up your swag bag by telling them your name. If you were in the pairs, but not in the solos. There are still some spots left for the Teams Heat 2, which is coming up after this one. So you can head to the waitlist line if you're someone in line and you want to participate in that. And last announcement is there will be a super special announcement right before the pairs final starts this evening. So please be sure to come join us for that, even if you're not competing. All right. With all of that, are you guys ready to puzzle? All right, we're making sure our countdown timer is ready. And then we're going to count it down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, puzzle!
All right, Rob, what do you think?
Oh, man, the excitement is in the air. I love the opening of the puzzles, the first toss of all the pieces. You've got the puzzle in front of us. There's a lot of butterflies.
What do you think?
I see we've moved away from the flower theme to a degree. which I personally don't hate. I don't mind this. There's a border you can actually do something with. That's nice too.
Yeah, I think that actually the border could be a bit challenging on this. I do want to give a shout out to the artist. So this is from Ingrid Slider, who's going to be joining us in a little bit to talk about her puzzle. And it's called The Butterfly Place. Beautiful 1,000-piece Ravensburger illustration. And yeah, I think this one, what do you think? Is this a challenging one, or are they going to fly through this?
Well, I've been notoriously terrible at the decisions that I made timing-wise, so I'm not going to say that anything I'm going to say is based on any kind of fact. But this looks parsable by a 4-piece team.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of purple down on one side. There's palm trees on the other side. There's sky. The border is actually fairly doable because it looks like the butterflies are unique all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, this feels like, to me, a fast one. But you are the
Yes.
seasoned expert at this. What do you think?
I think it's a fast one. I think we're going to see teams really fly through this. I agree with you. It's got a lot of really nice, doable like sections where you could be like, somebody can work on the pink tree, somebody
Right.
can work on the, like you said, the purple flowers and those 2 butterflies in the one corner. Somebody could just be working on edge and then getting, because that's going to be probably a couple pieces wide.
Yeah.
So somebody could just say, I'll take the edge and then fill in the purple. And so I do think in that way, this makes for a really great team puzzle because you can kind of chunk it out a little bit. So yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I love butterflies, that blue morpho. I should have worn my blue morpho earrings
Wow,
today.
I'm
I
not
mean,
up to speed enough on what kind of
that's the
butterflies
big blue
there are.
butterfly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gorgeous, and I'm so excited to talk to Ingrid more about it later. But so stay tuned for that, everybody. But yeah, I think this is just going to be really a fun one for everybody.
As an edge and sort specialist myself, I actually like the fact that there's multiple, potentially a couple of pieces worth of edge.
Right.
Because usually you get the edge done, and if you're like me, and most of these people are not because these people are great, but if you're like me, then it's the transition into the next part is a little challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So having something that contributes substantially to the
Yeah.
puzzle and keeps you engaged for a while, I love that.
Well, and what's great about it too is every butterfly is different. So
Yeah.
you don't see like 20 monarchs. Like some of them have a similar look to them, or there's maybe a few repeats, but it's not like same over and over. So really, if you're doing that purple part, you're going to be able to identify which butterfly it is pretty easily to like, just make that work for you and get that all done. I think this is one though that maybe we'll see a few teams who do just wait for the end and do that all last. It's hard to say, but maybe not. I don't know. I'll be curious if anybody leaves the edge to the end. We should show everybody so they can see it again. Thanks. But yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. We have some really good teams in this division, so it's going to be a super fun one to watch. We have Jack Bequick, which is Jean and Kathy Reuter, Andrea Peng, and Kelly Walter. They're right here at table number 1. And, they've all been, 3 of the folks on that team are the current world champions. So
Right.
definitely ones to watch, right?
Yeah.
Kelly Walters joining in place of Becca Taylor.
I'm
who
a
is-
little miffed that you guys took her onto the board so we couldn't watch her puzzle in
Right?
events like this. Becca's amazing. I love to watch her
so
puzzle.
She can't compete with them because she's a board member and helped to organize this whole thing. But I know she told me this morning, she keeps getting asked by folks, are you sad you're not puzzling? And she's like, no way. Doing this is so much more fun and so much more rewarding. So
that's
she is
great.
loving being an organizer. But of course, she's rooting for her team, of course.
Of course, I'm surprised Kelly was available. Kelly's a great add to that team. It's a
Right.
strong team. It was hugely strong with Becca. Obviously, they were a national or international winner.
Yep.
Kelly's a good, if you've got to replace Becca with somebody, Kelly's a good get.
I
so
mean,
I'm
it
sort of
helps that
surprised.
she's in the top 10 in the world, right?
It
Like, not a
does.
bad deal.
Yeah.
And then, of course, right next to them at table number 2, we have We Put the Betch in You Betcha, the Minnesota team with Sarah Schuler, Lauren Kautz, Andrea Kyle, and Dawn Rasmussen. Another super strong team. I love when we get these matchups because they've been
Yes.
matched up like in some configuration with the Reuters and Andrea, I think, before at Winter Carnival and had some really close matches. So I think we're going to be looking at close finishes, teams all kind of coming
Exciting.
in at the same time. But I do want to remind the folks out there that we have 2 puzzles in this round.
I was just going to say that.
So
this is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning. This is a 3
Get out your snacks,
hour.
people.
Yes, get out that popcorn because this is a 3-hour round. They are each going to do 2 1,000-piece puzzles. So they do this one. They have to get it completed, verified by a judge, they write down the time, then they pack it up back in the box and need to get it off the table completely before they open the next puzzle. And that's a little surprise for all of you and for them too. They haven't seen that one yet, and they'll see it when they get the first one done.
So unlike World's prelims, where they can do the puzzles in any order, you
Yes.
guys are giving a specific
specify.
order.
Yeah, we're strict. We want to make sure that, the reason that we do it is we want to be able to see a true comparison.
Yes.
We want to be able to know, yep, this team finished that one the fastest, not that they were doing two different puzzles at the same time and it's harder to compare.
Got it.
The other thing I'll tell everybody is that we have 100 teams in this round, and 50 of them will move on to the team final, which is our last event on Sunday. So you do need to finish in the top half in order to get to move forward to the final after this round.
I was going back and forth myself just thinking about, is it better to end on the individuals or the teams finals? But several people made this great point, which is it just seems so energetic and festive to end on the teams event.
Yes.
It seems like just a celebration of what everybody's here for.
Yes.
The energy when there are a bunch of people in teams is already much higher.
Oh yeah, just look at the room right now as you hear a lot of chatter, there's giggling, there's excitement and fun. And during yesterday's individuals, we saw it was like a library in here.
Yes.
It was dead quiet.
Yes.
If somebody coughed, you were like, who was that?
Although, as you say that, the room started getting quiet, so we're moving past the initial
maybe.
delegation of responsibility. Everybody's talking about what the puzzle is, figuring out if they're going to need any ad hoc change of strategy, and then they're just moving into the, okay, you've got your job, I've got my job, we're just going to sort of talk tactically for the most part for the rest of the time, or trash talk if that's the way your team is.
Looking over at team number 1 right now, they're barely talking. There's a little bit, but they're all very intently focused. They've all got their jobs. You can tell they've kind of chunked it out. They're all working intently on something. Whereas table number 2, which we all know, the Betches, they like to talk the entire time.
I was going to say, they're chatting away.
Yeah, she's probably mic'd up and recording it for Instagram right now because she's always hilarious when she's puzzling. We got to talk about table number 3. Another heavy hitter team. They're called the Juggernauts, and it's Jessa Douglas, Kelly Burr, Hannah Scott, and Alice Rowe. And we saw all of them doing incredibly well yesterday, and now they're what I like to refer to as a mega team. They've just come together to form this incredibly fast team.
Yeah. I love the fact that Alice and Hannah are paired together. I think that's a great pairing. I asked Jessa when I first heard that this was their team lineup, I said, well, how did you guys get Alice on your team? It seems like a coup. And she said, well, we asked. And she said yes. I'm like, okay.
We joked yesterday about someday there'll be an NBA-style draft for these players.
That'd be amazing. Yes.
They'll have to come with some kind of enticing package that they get if they join your team.
That's right.
Because, I'm
Show
sure.
me your shirts.
Right?
What's your shirt look like?
What's your shirt? What's your team name? Okay, I'll consider it.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I do think it's hilarious sometimes when these top puzzlers are like, so does anybody want to puzzle with me?
Right?
Because you would think. But yeah, that's another thing I love about this, though, is all these new combinations. And it happens every year.
It does. I was telling the folks from Wicked Quick who aren't in this round, I was like, I feel like you guys are old mainstays of the puzzle scene.
They've
because
only
you've been
done it
around
one other
for
time.
a year. Well, they've been around for a year
Yeah,
and
right.
a few months.
Yeah.
But they're consistent.
Right.
And the Betches, obviously. But
Yeah.
to your point, everybody else gets mixed up.
Yeah.
Everybody gets moved around because
Great.
people can't make times, or they, they end up on the board.
Yeah.
And so the constant
Or they just
shuffling.
can't come to the events, so then, that
exactly.
changes things. I don't know why anybody would have a conflict and not be able to come to this event.
Right?
Maybe if you're having a kid or something, maybe,
Well, speaking of kids, should we talk about the fact that the Betches are technically puzzling with 5 people?
Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot about that. Yes, we have
Yes.
Andrea has a bit of a baby bump that she's rocking today.
She does, yeah.
Doesn't stop her from standing and leaning over the entire time, though, which I don't understand
No.
because, I can barely manage that. So she's killing it.
Yeah.
But I love that she's expecting, and they're all very excited about that. It'd be interesting to see if she has as much time to practice once she has a little one running around.
Well, we've seen a few people with kids, when they first have the kids, sort of fade out of competition for a little while and then fade back in once they can kind of get their schedule taken care of. And that's another thing, actually, because competitive jigsaw puzzling is so female dominated. That's another thing that we see taking people out for a cycle or two. I know that one of my local teams, Blem, who's in the next round, had a sub out because they have a person who's pregnant and can't make it. And so we see that happen.
It happens. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's really cool to see like families, and we have a lot of family teams. I think today, I know that the cameras, as I'm listening to them kind of working their way around the room, they're pointing out like, oh, there's a kid on this one, so there's a fair number of families that come and compete with their kids, which love to see it.
Love to see it.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to get those kids in this early, brainwash them good, Rob.
Yeah, no, it's true. I keep saying to the folks who are expecting children, like, okay, well, when do you first put a puzzle in front of them? Like,
yeah,
you gotta
exactly.
get them moving.
Yeah. Oh, I am the person now with anybody has a kid, that's the gift. It's like their kid is going to get one of those wooden things with the 3 holes, and you're like, okay, get them started early. And I think it's just expected now. Like, well, of course Val's going to give puzzles as gifts to everybody.
It's funny. I've talked to a lot of the sort of world-class puzzle competitors, and many of them mention the sort of shape sorting puzzle as their first puzzling
that
experience.
is for a lot of people. Well, and if you're Gen X like myself, you remember that terrifying thing with the shapes where you had to put it in and it was on a timer, and then perfection.
Yes, perfection.
Remember perfection?
Yes.
And then it like explodes if you don't get them all in time, and
Yeah.
it was like the most stressful thing in the universe.
That's
I
right.
swear that's what got me hooked on speed puzzling.
Just because you had to get it done.
Yeah. Which, speaking of, it reminds me of one of the team names is Tick Tick Boom.
Oh, yes.
And that immediately reminded me of perfection. Look it up, folks. If you're young, you might not know that game. Yeah, exactly. I do want to kind of see if we can see some strategies here on the floor. And I see one that has an edge done already.
Yeah.
And they kind of have, it looks like a purple pile there on the ones that we're looking at. Oh, and this is the Figuras we're looking at there. I recognize them immediately. And the Figuras are another group. They're a family that's been around forever. So shout out to them. Love to see it.
Were they here last year? I heard some surprise that they were showing up this year.
Yeah, I think last year they weren't able to make it. I think there was like a conflict where they couldn't come last time. So yeah, we're so excited they're back here. I remember back in the day when I was competing more and doing speedpuzzling.com and like groupies with Jonathan Clough's outfit.
Right.
And I remember one time my pair partner and I beat the Figuras, and we were like, oh my God, like we were freaking out. We were like, we beat Max and Sophie.
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Yes,
we were like so proud of ourselves because they're a formidable pair.
Yeah, I think E.B. Karen was talking about like having a long-standing, is it the Figuras that she has a long-standing competition with? I have to
really?
look that up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you were talking about kids and puzzling, and I was watching the live stream yesterday during the pairs, and every time there was a kid on the screen, like the live stream would just open with applause and excitement, like, oh look, oh it's so adorable that the kids are there, and of course we have kids who are just dominating competitively, so it just goes to show you that age is not a factor here. It's funny, every time I talk about, less so actually this year, but it used to be that every time I talk about competitive jigsaw puzzling, they're like, oh, is that like a bunch of 60-year-old women?
Right.
I'm like, no.
No.
It is like a bunch of 19-year-old girls, and they are all kicking my butt.
Exactly. I do think it's going to get younger and younger, and we are all eventually going to be like outpaced by these young kids like Connor, who wowed everybody yesterday with his pair round win with Josh.
I appreciate you said eventually outpaced. I feel like I'm already being beaten by all the children in the competition.
Oh, and we got a comment on this. So I know we have a lot of fans in the chat. We're going to be looking at our travel influencers who are participating today, Claire and Peter and Chad and Claire. And we're super excited that they're here today. That's them you're seeing right now. And I believe they have just gone by the name Team World Travelers. So we're excited. They were only going to do pairs competitions, but then they met yesterday, and after a little coaxing, it was like, oh, wait, we could do the team? maybe? And so we were like, yes. And so they joined up and they decided to do this fairly last minute. So
It's gonna
good
suck
luck to them
in.
today.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
you do get sucked in,
Yeah,
right?
there's no escaping. I'm sorry, all the fans of those folks. They're going to disappear and become puzzling bloggers. So
Yeah,
it's just the way it goes.
Or their travel's just going to have to be only going to puzzle competitions.
That's right. There are increasingly puzzle competitions all around the world. So that is less hard than it would have been even
Yeah,
last
right?
year.
No, that's true. They could probably spend a year just going from one championship to another. Speaking of, there are 4 national championships in different countries this weekend.
Right.
So those of you wanting to check out live streams of this, you should be searching because I believe the UK is live streaming their competition this weekend.
Right.
So you could check that out. There's also a championship happening in Finland this weekend and Denmark. So that's kind of nuts that it's gotten so busy out there that we're having multiple championships happening in one weekend.
Right.
It's
It
kinda
really shows
crazy.
you the explosive growth of the sport.
Yeah, for sure. I did want to point out some of the other teams that we have, but we got to make a prediction. I just realized we haven't done that yet. What do you think,
That's because
Rob?
I immediately dodged the question when you brought it up.
What do you think is going to be our finish time on this? I mean, obviously it's not the end time because they have one puzzle left after this. But yeah, what are you thinking for a finish time for these top teams?
Oh, all right. Well,
I've seen in the chat like 42,
I was gonna say
38,
40, yeah.
I think 42. I think it's going to be right around 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I look
I'm
forward
not,
to being terribly
we'll just
wrong
be
about
on the
that.
same page on that we're predicting around 40, and we'll see how that goes. Yesterday, I was on fire. I was really nailing it yesterday
All
with
right.
the predictions. But yeah, I think it's going to be like 40 minutes. And there we're seeing a nice split screen of all 3 of those teams. Which I think that's, I recognize those. So that's Alyssa Zackler, Lindsay Steenstra, Tammy, and Yvonne. So Golden State Puzzlers there competing briefly.
Yeah, I was listening to the live stream with Yvonne and Tammy, and they're both really great
Yeah.
to listen to.
Yeah.
They have such deep knowledge between the two of
gosh,
them,
yeah,
and
for
a
sure.
wealth of experience. I was just in awe.
From the moment that we met, you were worth the wait. Oh, this could be the best thing.
And we're
that
going
I'll
to cut briefly to an ad and then be joined by our guest as soon as we're back. All right, I want to welcome our special guest today. It's so exciting. We have the artist of this puzzle, Ingrid Slider, joining us. So welcome to the live stream.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm so excited that we get to talk to you about the beautiful art that you've created for this puzzle.
Well, thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, good. Well, so what are you thinking as you're looking out and watching 400 people work on your art?
It's very surreal.
Really?
It
Is this the first time you've done this?
It is. It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Yes,
I imagine
yes,
it's got to be a very different way that people are engaging with your art than you're used to.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen individuals putting puzzles together, but never a crowd like this. It's really fun.
Yeah. So have you been around much this weekend and gotten to see any of the other competitions, or is this the first one you're seeing?
No, we arrived on Friday, so I was
okay.
able to see right from the beginning all of the
Okay.
different
Has it been
activities
hard
happening.
to keep it under wraps? Because I know everything's so top secret when you
Oh,
have these art.
I've been very careful, but people do ask. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
They're probably like, well, you could just show me on your phone what it looks like.
No.
Well, so yeah, tell us about the creative process for this. And I mean, it's beautiful. I'm curious about like what materials you use, or is it digital, or are you actually painting or drawing?
Well, I'm a watercolor artist, and
Okay.
I'm pretty old school. I do probably about 90% of it by hand.
Oh, wow.
I start with a sketch on the computer, and I'll
Okay.
brainstorm my ideas, and I'll come up with a list of things that I want to include. And if I start it on the computer, then I can do a quick sketch and work in everything, figure out where it goes. But then I'll transfer it to paper
Okay.
and add the color after I have a sketch to work from.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
And then maybe a little cleanup with Photoshop at the end, but really
Okay. So how much input are you getting from Ravensburger, or do you feel like you kind of know how to do it now in terms of like making puzzle art? Because I know there's some tricks to it, right? Like,
oh, absolutely, yes. There. Well, I work with a wonderful art director, Rachel Panteley, and she is terrific at guiding me through the process. I do have a lot of experience. I've been designing puzzles for Ravensburger for almost 20 years.
oh, wow. Do you know how
So-
many puzzles you've done with them?
I couldn't tell you what the number is. I know I probably have about 20 in the catalog right
Okay,
now, so I've
okay. Wow,
definitely
yeah.
learned some things over the years. It's definitely very different to design a puzzle versus something, say, you'd hang on the wall. Like if I'm doing a piece of art to hang on the wall, I would have, you're seeing it from a distance, so you'd have empty space and a place for your eye to rest. But when I'm working on a puzzle image, I'm thinking about you're viewing it very up close, and you really want every inch to be interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm putting in lots of bright colors. I'm adding a lot of detail. Since I'm a character artist, I like to have lively things happening all over the page. For this particular image, I started with making sure the butterflies are all different sizes. So there's some that are larger that are in the foreground, and then tiny ones in the background, so your eye really moves around the page.
Yeah, I was noticing the level of detail that sits like around the fountain, and like just everywhere I looked, there were things to settle and look at, and I was just thinking about how many of the competitors are going to be like, I had no idea that was in there. I never saw that, but there's just everywhere there's something special to see and experience.
Well, I'm glad you felt that way, because that's definitely what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Do you, I mean, is it different with like puzzlers in terms of, you know, talking to them? I mean, is it a different type of fan of your art? Because I feel like puzzlers definitely have like favorite artists, and they buy everyone that they can get their hands on,
It's
you know,
true.
and are,
Well, they're certainly a very special community. They have such a positive energy, and they're very warm and friendly. I've really enjoyed getting to know them as I've been walking around the last couple of days.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be famous now. Now they know what you look like. Before they knew the name, and now they're like, I know what she looks like. Well, so yeah, I do think that it's really, I mean, it's, yeah, like I said, it's beautiful. It's so detailed, and it's just got like these vibrant colors. And so have you been seeing anything? We've been sitting at the table just seeing what's on screen, but have you noticed anything as you've been like walking around the space and watching them puzzle?
Well, I've noticed people seem to have very different techniques, you know, and some people just start in the middle and start going, and then some people start with the border and work their way in. So it's kind of fun to see the different approaches.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about competitive jigsaw puzzling is it really takes all kinds of approaches. Like you can be successful in a lot of different ways.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I want to give a shout out because this type of border is so unique. To have a border that's detailed like this, and then also not just like one piece thick. You know, usually it's like maybe if you have a frame on an image, it's just like the actual like, you know, edge pieces, that's it. But this has got a little more to it. So was that a choice you made early on, or was that something you added later when you started after you'd been working on the image?
It was a choice I made early on because I wanted to be sure that, and it was also a special challenge because I wanted to be sure they were all scientifically accurate.
Oh, okay.
Like, since I'm a character artist, usually I'm making things up out of my head, but the markings had to go with the scientific name, and I don't know if you can see it on the cover, but the scientific names are under each species of
Oh,
butterfly.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't. No, you can't see that. Oh, okay. So
And that
that's
meant
on
they
the
all had
puzzle.
to- yes.
Oh, okay.
So they all
That's
had to be
interesting.
scientifically accurate, and the markings had to go with the right butterfly. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was a special challenge to this particular
Oh,
puzzle.
wow. So
Yeah.
now you're like a butterfly expert.
That's right.
I mean, really,
Yeah,
that's a
assuming I can
ton of
remember,
time,
yeah.
that you have to spend. I recognize the blue morpho right away, and of course, you know, there's like a monarch, but I don't know the other names. but I definitely have seen images of these types of butterflies before, and they do look incredibly like, it reminds me of those, what's the word I'm looking for? It was like the illustrated kind of back in, when naturalists would.
Like botanical drawings.
Yes, like botanical drawing. That's what it reminds me of, and I love that style.
Oh, good. That was what I was going for.
Yeah,
so.
no, it's so pretty. I'm super excited to do this one. That's one of the hard things, right, Rob, is sitting here and watching everybody do these puzzles and being like, well, I want to do that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was telling Val earlier, like this is leans into my preference, which is a strong border, something that you can build off of. It is beautiful and very interesting. So I immediately want to do that. Even though I'm always intimidated by a 1,000-piece puzzle, like I would jump into this one.
I'm guessing you're active puzzlers yourselves.
Oh, of course. Rob's actually competing in the
are
next
you?
round.
That's
so
right.
he's probably thinking in his head, like, are we going to get something similar to
I am
this?
thinking exactly that. And I assume that you'll tell me, right?
Yeah, of course. No, of course not. No.
At what point did you know that this was going to be used in a competition?
Not until after it was complete.
Oh, is that right?
Correct, yes. Then
Okay.
Rachel told me she thought it would be good for, appeal to a large group of people. That some of the ones I do are very niche-y, where it would just be certain people that would be interested in the subject matter. But this had a certain universal theme to it that
Well,
she thought would be fun.
I will say, so we have multiple meetings with Rachel as we're gearing up for nationals and figuring out, what we're going to be doing. And she'll just show us, sometimes she'll show us, early concepts because the artist hasn't completed it yet. I think this was one where she showed us like almost the completed piece.
Oh.
And I think we all just went, oh, well, yeah, of course. Immediately. It was just like, yeah, no, gorgeous.
That's good to
hear. It was like, we didn't have to talk about it. There was no debate
Yeah.
about whether this one goes in the competition or not. It was like an immediate yes.
Well, usually when I'm working with Rachel, I'll show her my initial sketch before I ever start doing the painting part of
okay.
it. So she has a lot of input.
Yeah.
If there's something that she thinks would work better, then we make the changes right at the beginning.
Have you gotten to meet the other artists that are here? Because we
have.
do have a few others floating around.
Yes,
yeah.
that's a lot of fun.
Was that the first time that you've met other puzzle artists in person?
Certainly here at the show, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So, we were comparing notes on our technique and approach, and everybody's got their own way of handling it, so
Right.
that's fun to hear.
Well, and I have to ask, are you a puzzler?
I do puzzles. I'm more of a casual puzzler. I find that painting puzzle images is really a lot like doing a puzzle. Like when I do a puzzle, when I paint a puzzle, it takes me 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm spending a lot of time, but I'm never happier than when I have a cup of tea on my desk and a podcast on, and I'm just kind of losing myself in the little world that's I'm making on the page. But also, we do puzzles on vacation when I'm with my family, and my mother is older and she's getting dementia, but we do puzzles together still, and it's just a great way to connect with family at whatever stage of life you're in.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I do puzzles with my family. That's how I got started. My mom's here this weekend and been watching, and I'm sure she's eager for this to be over so she and I can do some puzzling together, because every time I go to visit her, it's like there's a puzzle out, we're puzzling. And it's funny because I think growing up, it's like speed puzzling wasn't really a thing for us either.
No, it was relaxation. Yeah.
Right. But I will say, now when I puzzle with her, she's very much like I am, a little bit stubborn. And so if we start a puzzle in the evening, it's like, we want to get this done,
Yeah,
and she will fully be up with me till 2 a.m. because we're
That's
like,
great.
just a few more pieces. We can do this. We can finish this.
Yeah, some of us are very task oriented. It's hard to
Yes,
stop
right.
if
A
you're
little
not done.
bit, yeah. Yeah, so one of the things I was going to ask you about is, coming into this, did you have a notion of how fast these puzzlers were, or have you been surprised by it?
I have been amazed by it, frankly. I think ahead of time I'd seen little clips on Instagram where I could see how it was being done, but just watching their fingers fly across those tables is really awe-inspiring. They
Yeah.
really are amazing.
I'll say, these are probably your biggest fans because they are spending a lot of time with your art. You go to a gallery or you see art on a wall and you might stare at it for a little while and be like, oh, that's lovely, and you enjoy the image. But here it's like, intense. Like
I
they're
can see it.
focused. Yeah, exactly. They are like head down. They are like right on, and they're studying it. And and I think that's one of the lovely things too about having this opportunity on these weekends for people to meet the artists like yourself and get to tell you about their love of that, and getting to enjoy your art. And it does mean a lot to a lot of the folks here.
Well, I feel very honored by their
Oh, good.
enthusiasm. It's really
Yeah.
lovely to see. Yeah.
You have a signing later today?
I do.
correct?
I
Yeah.
do.
So after this?
After this, and it's down in the main
Exhibit hall,
In
yep.
the main exhibit hall. Yes,
Yep.
I'll be staying and
Yeah.
signing.
It
for as
has
long
to
as
be
people wanna
after
come.
because
Yeah.
they can't sign it
no,
before.
No. Yeah, and I think it's on the schedule. I can't remember. I think
Yeah.
it's 2:00.
I
maybe,
think
or-
so, yeah. So people can go down and get the puzzle
Absolutely.
signed
Yes,
by
I'll
you.
love to meet people and get
Yeah.
a chance to talk to them
Yeah,
and
that's
sign
so
their
cool.
puzzles.
I am curious of how close we're getting. Are you keeping an eye on it, Rob?
I am
I'm like
keeping
so
an eye.
absorbed by the conversation.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
like,
getting
what's
there.
going
I
on
think,
here?
I think we may be under 40 minutes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. We're at 31, and that's table number 1 right there.
Oh wow! Look
3
at
of
them go.
those folks are on the world champion team.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Yeah, and the
So-
other one has done extremely well
Yes.
this weekend. so-
Table number 2 and table number 3, all of them are really, really heavy hitters. Like we would expect them all to be very close to each other.
Look at them go. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of like starting with the border, going to the pink tree, going to the blue butterfly, the very obvious things that stick out.
And you're seeing that where they've completed the whole border, the
Yeah.
whole purple
It looks
frame.
like it may
it's
be
not
3
just
pieces deep.
Is it 3 pieces deep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow! Look at them go.
Well, and it's always interesting to me because I think on some level it looks chaotic, but I promise you it's an organized chaos. I feel like a lot of these teams, it's incredibly structured in how they approach it. Especially if they've had a lot of opportunity to practice together.
I have
and
to
kinda-
say, yeah, there looks like very little hesitation. They look like they're
Right?
just their hands are just moving very deliberately as they're sorting and placing the pieces.
Well, for a lot of them, the mechanical portions are just automated, right? They've done
Yeah.
so many puzzles, they've done so many kinds of puzzles, they've done them so often that their hands just do what their hands are going to do. And some people that's where they live, and other people sort of while their hands are doing it are looking around for other opportunities to pull in piles and sort of strategize. And yeah, once that box drops, I feel like the most practice part is the first maybe 30 seconds of a puzzle. Is that where everybody's practiced, like, okay, I'm opening it, I'm dropping the box, I'm opening the bag, I'm handing this to you, we're going to figure out what it is, we're going to flip and sort everything. So it just goes. So it's a deeply thought through process for most of the teams.
I see so little hesitation when they pick up a piece. It's like they pick it up and it goes somewhere.
That's
It's
right.
not like they're moving it around speculatively, which is how I would be doing a puzzle.
I was going to say you should
Scanning.
watch me. You'll see that version of it where it's like, all right, I have a piece. Now what?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, we're talking about these top teams. There's a lot of folks in here out of this 100 teams that this is maybe their first contest they've ever done. And so they're maybe at a slightly different level. And it's more of an experiment, or let's try this, or just do this for fun. And, I love it because not everybody's going to be at that, very front
Absolutely.
top of the heap. And, but it is really fun. No matter if you're going to win or not, it's just a nice feeling to sit down with people and all be in a room together and doing this all together.
And yeah, I know several teams who are here just for the experience, who aren't looking to be competitive at all, and in fact have created teams around not being competitive. And they're here for the shirts, and it's interesting that there are a lot of people who've been jigsaw puzzlers a lot of their lives, and it wasn't until competitive jigsaw puzzling really hit the stage probably about 2 years ago, maybe a little before, Val can tell you for sure, that a lot of them suddenly felt that they had a community they didn't even know they were looking for, right? And so suddenly people are like, I can go and talk about jigsaw puzzles with other people who would want to talk about jigsaw puzzles. So for a lot of people, these kind of national competitions have really been a place just for them to become more ingrained with a community that loves the same things they do, to meet friends that they've only ever met online. So it really is, you see the top competitors, and we all love to watch the top competitors, but the community in general is amazing, and a lot of people are just here to...
Oh, they're done. 30.
there we go.
We're at 35. Table number 1 is done
All right,
at 35 minutes.
You see them flip your puzzle.
Look
Oh
at them
goodness,
go.
yeah, it's kind of all over the place. So table 1.
Yeah, so that's the fun thing. It's fun for us to watch. I don't know how it is as an artist, but the first thing they do when they're finished and they get their time officially recorded is they just collapse
Well,
the
they've
puzzle
got to get
and
on to the next
discard.
puzzle, so I can
Yeah.
understand that
They don't
completely.
get time to admire it. No. Yeah, they don't get much time to admire. That is an impressive time, though, to see them get that done in 35 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
That's intense. And now look at the Betches are right behind them. I bet they're going to be less than a minute behind.
This does feel like the kind of event where even if you're not placing at the top, you might want to come back again just to see if you can improve your time from one year to the next.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's just fun to be part of the action.
Oh, for sure. And I do think that, yeah, even if it's just like a casual thing for you, like you said, it's the community. Oh, okay, I'm really watching table number 2 is so close.
Yeah, the Betches and the Juggernauts are not too far behind them.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to get out that other puzzle. I got it down here. And now Ingrid can give us a little thought on what she thinks of this next image.
Wow,
yeah.
it's my first
Oh,
time
wow.
seeing it too. That's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
That
So-
looks like so much fun to do.
A
There's
lot of
just-
folks that have been watching these nationals live streams are going to recognize this artist right off the bat. Our number 2 team just finished, the Betches. We put the Betch and You Betcha from Minnesota. They just finished, and it looks like, and table 3's right behind them.
Yeah.
Wow, so I bet they're all within like a minute or so of each other.
And who's the artist that did this puzzle?
So this one is Dean McAdam.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so Dean McAdam is very popular. He's been to 2 of our national championships before, and he's back in this round.
I love his
I
style.
love
Yeah.
his style.
Yeah. It's so just kind of witty.
It is. There's so much humor in there.
Yeah, it's a
really-
lot of humor. Yeah, so
Looks
this
fun
one
to
is
do.
referred to as Ocean Lounge is the name of this puzzle. And this is going to be interesting. I actually think, Ingrid, that you have given people what I would call a relaxing speed puzzle.
Yes.
This one, less relaxing.
There's a lot going on here.
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah,
and
there are a lot of little figures doing all kinds of fun things
right?
in that image. Yep.
I mean,
yep.
it's super detailed, so I think you're still going to have lots of clues to work from to solve it, but it's not as easy to chunk out. You know, like
Sure.
yours, we felt like would be very easy to say, okay, somebody can do the frame, somebody can work on the big blue butterfly, somebody can work,
There
you know, and
go,
kind
yeah.
of
There's
split
like blocks
things up.
of color to work in.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
This is going to be a much faster puzzle for the people who like busy puzzles.
I was going to say, you got to be the right kind of person for this puzzle, and we do have a lot of people who like a busy puzzle. I sort of think this may favor the Betches in a way, because there's a lot of detail, and I know they've got some folks who like to get in there. But a lot of fun characters. It's got some nice, like the coral's nicely defined.
Yep.
There's the lounge areas nicely defined. Sort of some dark areas in the upper left. There's interesting thing going down in the lower right. So it's not completely free
Right.
of clues.
areas, yeah. I do think, like, if you said, like, I'll grab a bunch of yellow, you'd probably be, like you said, able to do more of this lounge area, and somebody could do the sharks, and then the coral, like you mentioned, would be another one that somebody could decide, like, okay, I'll do that. I think we'll see this exit sign go together immediately.
I agree.
Up in the upper left corner. But yeah, it's going to be really a fun one to watch. But I do think, like, we know that the Betches like busy. So that's going to lean into their strengths a little. It'll be interesting to see how the table number 3, who's right behind them, the Alice, Hannah,
The Juggernauts.
Jessa, the Juggernaut team, how they handle that, because, you know, this is the first time they're all competing together.
That's
with
right.
Kelly
I have
Burr, yeah.
less of a read on how this plays to their strengths.
Yep.
I like how clean and sharp each of the individual
Yeah.
characters are. Even in spite of the detail, they still all pop.
Yeah, for sure. So have you ever met Dean? Is he
I
one that
have
you've
not met Dean.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Like
I
it's-
am an admirer of his work, so
Yeah.
I would love to meet him sometime.
Yeah, I love the kind of fairy tale series that he did. So I
Yes,
have
that's
like all of
great.
those. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're so
yeah.
much fun. But yeah, this one is just really hilarious. I wish he was here so that we could ask him about some of these characters, because he often does put little things in there that like remind him of a certain person.
Yeah,
or-
the little cigar and the shark's mouth and the Hawaiian shirt, that is really just too funny.
Oh, it's so cute. Yeah. And he does often put kind of little hidden meanings around in his puzzles. But sadly, Dean is not here this weekend, everybody. So he's not one of the artists that's able to attend this weekend. But shout out to Dean. We hope he's watching so he can see everybody loving this puzzle. I'll put it up here so people can look at it potentially. But yeah, this is really, I can't believe how fast that was.
It was amazing. Over
Yeah.
before you had time to register it was happening.
I know. I'm gonna. If they do this next one as quickly, it's gonna be like we're 70 minutes in and we already have winners, like, which will be a record. I think. I don't think we've ever had that fast of times.
Yeah.
Does that sound right? I mean, I'm gonna look at results from last
Do a
time.
year-to-year comparison?
What was that?
A year-to-year comparison?
Yeah, because I feel like 35 is really significantly like an accomplishment for sure, an achievement.
And what type of puzzles are you both drawn to when you pick a puzzle to do?
Oh,
More
I
of
like-
an escaping scene, or more of something with a lot of little characters, or
I like your style because I like the more painterly ones, and I like the ones that are, I don't know, like have that look to them versus the more digital art, I would say. But I like a lot of fantasy. So
I like that too.
Yeah, if it's paintings of dragons or elves, yeah, then I'm all in.
I love fairy tales and fairies and anything.
fairies,
Yeah,
yep.
and a lot of things having to do with nature. That
Yeah.
always appeals to me too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I'm a big time gardener, and the butterfly puzzle definitely kind
it's
of
right around.
reflects that.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah. I was a fan of all those flower puzzles yesterday.
Oh, there
we
you
had,
go,
we had a lot
yeah.
of flowers yesterday, and I like flower
Certainly did.
puzzles. Yep. So I'm all about that. What about you, Rob?
You know, I'm much more functional. I like things that have areas that I can sort of chunk out, like you know,
Collages. You big collage.
collages,
Yeah.
like the you know.
Those are nice.
I have a very sort of pedestrian approach to puzzles. I like things that I can just sort of like I can chunk maybe into smaller pieces, and I can work on those. So anything that gets me into there is great. I do love just the wide variety of art that is available. And so it means that, you know, sometimes I'm doing something like dark conceptually, sometimes I'm doing some things that are dark actually, but sometimes you're doing lighthearted things and, you know, talking animals or, you know, tree houses in fantasies. You know, I love that you could just go all of these places in it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I'm not terribly picky, so I kind of will do almost anything, really. But yeah, that for sure, fantasy images are ones that I really
particularly
really enjoy.
drawn to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
So last year we had the two fairly challenging puzzles back to back.
Yeah,
so-
last time the Dean McAdam came first with the Busy Birdies puzzle, followed by the Elspeth McLean, very detailed mandala kind of, you know, puzzle.
Yeah, so we were nowhere near this fast that time.
Yeah, no, those were both challenging, slightly challenging puzzles. One of the things that we were curious about though last time is that Elspeth puzzle, we really were like, oh, that's going to be a tough one, the one you're seeing there with the all blue. And then a lot of them finished that just as fast, if not faster, than the Dean McAdam one, which was shocking.
Really?
It was
Yeah.
shocking to me as well, but I know that a lot of the great puzzlers were like, well, and I know that they did rounds with this puzzle. You probably, Val, know more than I do about this, but like each section, while it all was a lot of the same hue, had a lot of like internal patterns that helped you identify that specific area, right? So there might be a series of particular kind of dot formations that were only in this one area, and so I know a lot of the high-end teams just went in and they noticed that fairly quickly. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, here's the pattern.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
then we can do that.
That's true. The one thing she does so well with those puzzles, even though, like you said, the color scheme is very similar, she adds all these tiny little details that are slightly different so that it does really help you get that done. But yeah, we were shocked when people were getting that done fast because we were hoping it was going to stump them a little bit, but it really didn't. So that also just speaks to how good these folks are at puzzling. But yeah, you're seeing, I mean, there's other teams that are getting there for that first one.
I can see it filling in there.
Yep.
Yeah, that blue medallions puzzle was really striking. That's a really lovely image.
Yeah, and she was with us. She came all the way from Australia.
Oh, really?
Well, she's from Australia. I think she was living in the States, at the time. But she came to the event, and I think she was really worried, like, oh no, are they going to be mad when they pull this out? Because, it looked so hard. But then everybody was like, oh my God, it's beautiful. And she was like, oh, thank goodness, But what was amazing is she explained to us that is a photograph.
Really?
She paints every rock. Those are actual rocks that she has painted the patterns onto, and it is a photograph. She does paint a background, so a backdrop for it, and then she sets the rocks on top of that, and that's how she creates the design. So that is not an illustration, it's not computer art, it is a photograph of actual rocks that she has painted.
Truly cool.
Isn't it amazing?
Very cool.
So she actually brought some of the rocks with her so people could see them, and they're so small.
Really?
We all were like, thinking, oh, okay, is it like the size of your
you got to
fist?
think. I would have thought actual size.
She's like using like a magnifying glass and getting teeny tiny, and so these rocks in that picture would actually only be like a couple inches across.
That's impressive.
And we were all just amazed.
Yeah, the amount of detail she can get in.
Yeah, it was incredible. So
that's funny that she thought people would not want to do that. But I get that. I think all artists are insecure to a certain degree.
You're like, are they going to hate me?
That's right. Well, art's a very subjective thing, and everybody likes different things, so you just never know.
Don't worry, Ingrid. They're all going to love it. I can guarantee everybody today was very excited to pull that puzzle out and be like, woohoo, this is going to be fun.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a fast puzzle, and
whoever's on that table is almost done.
Yeah? I can't tell who we're looking at. It's
I
so
was
hard to
looking
tell.
at the one that says Rick on the far.
Oh yeah, Rick's camera.
That's the
that's
War
the
and
Golden
Peace.
State. Oh, War and Peace was up. Okay.
There they go, and just over halfway. So it's good they're
War and Peace is another one
ready
of those.
to move on.
Mm-hmm.
War and Peace is another one of those teams that is a regular team, but one of the board members is on their regular team, so can't be here. So that's Tammy McLeod, Yvonne Voigt, Lissa Zackler, and I think.
Did they go by War and Peace instead of Golden State this time around? Oh, okay. So because without Allie, they're not Golden State. I get it.
Oh, and they're done.
My mistake. Oh yeah, there they go. Hands up in the air, everybody.
Folding and stuff.
Yep.
You got to get that out of there.
I find the sitting versus standing technique interesting also, that some people, you'd think that would just kill your back to be standing, and yet
it does. It does kill your back. You're half the time you're just like, it's okay, I can sit after I'm done. It's fine. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. You take a lot of time.
My competitive team is called Advil Up for exactly that reason.
Is that your team name? Nice.
That's right.
Yeah, do you have what would your team name be, Ingrid, if you were in there?
We'd be the Snails, I think.
Snails. We do have some really fun team names. I looked through the list, and we have one called Moderately Puzzled, which I thought was pretty
clever.
good.
That's good.
Easily Distracted by Puzzles is another one. Puzzle Goblins. I was okay, yeah, Puzzle Goblins. I like that. I get it. There was another, That's So Ravensburger. I was like, love that.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that's Turtle and Jasper
really
and Min, and Jamie. So that's really great.
Oh yeah.
And then Fit Happens. I was like, that's really good. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, there's some good ones. A lot of people love to have fun with the team names, and
I like the matching team T-shirts too.
Yeah.
I see a lot of tables.
And now we're getting headwear. We've got a team right near us here.
Yes,
That's them. That has the That's So Ravensburger team is all wearing
That's the Oddbirds over there.
Yeah, the Oddbirds are wearing their fun little headbands with
It definitely makes them stand out and adds to the fun factor.
Right? Yeah, Teams event is my favorite because it is just so kind of celebratory, and it's fun when everybody's playing off of each other. It's lighter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people walk in at the very beginning, and a bunch of they were all wearing aluminum foil or moon blankets or something.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know what was going on.
Oh, that's
there.
hilarious.
Oh, get their muscles warmed up? Is that what that is?
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, are these guys are taking it serious?
What is the purpose? That's
Well, they won't look unusual in the midst of AwesomeCon, because walking around yesterday, I was delighted by all the costumes everywhere, all the cosplayers. It makes for some good people watching and a lot of fun when you're out in the concourse with all the other convention goers.
yeah, that's definitely an enjoyable part of being
Right?
both events together, is that you
Yeah.
get to see that the bonus of people who spend
Exactly.
time in their costumes.
Do you go to a lot of con type of things and participate in artist alleys and things like that, or is this an unusual thing for you?
This is an unusual thing for me. I'm pretty much an introvert, so
Okay.
I like working at home alone. I can stay very focused.
Yeah, nice. We talked yesterday, a bunch of us, about the introvert thing, because I think a lot of puzzlers are introverts, and it's a nice way of meeting people and talking to people, because you don't have to look at them. You can just puzzle.
Yes, I
and
would
have
think
a
that's true.
right?
There's an area of focus that everybody can be focused on the one thing.
Right.
We're just sort of inhabiting the same space. And,
Yeah,
and
those
if you
are my
don't want to
people.
talk for a while, it's not a big deal.
Exactly, yeah. Those are my people. I say that while I'm on a live stream
was
for
gonna say, yeah.
hours and hours and hours. But, it's all a show, everybody. This is...
There you go.
No, it's so much fun. Well, I want to thank you. You've given so much of your time, and we are so grateful that you came over and joined us and
Well,
hung
this
out.
has been a blast. I couldn't imagine a more fun time.
Thank you so much. And
You're
your
both a
art,
pleasure to talk to.
just beautiful. It's a pleasure meeting you.
You
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. And have a great rest of the
Well,
day,
thank
and
you.
enjoy
Thank
your
you.
signing. And
I will.
Yeah,
I'll look
thanks so
forward to
much.
meeting the puzzlers.
All right. Well, that was lovely.
She was very
She's so
lovely.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
As if that's a big shocker.
No, I was gonna say
these
it
puzzle
isn't.
artists are such, divas or something.
I've talked to a couple of them, and they're all great.
And they are.
The puzzling community is all great.
I know.
my
We're
wife
probably
and I-
just sickening to everybody out there who's
That's
listening.
right.
They're like, okay, come on, enough with the positivity.
My wife and I continue to look for some sort of nemesis that we can pretend play off of. Be like, oh, those guys.
Yeah.
And it only lasts for a moment, because then we'll meet those people and we're like, oh, okay, they're great. Yeah.
Okay, let's look at how we're doing on the second puzzle here. Let's see. Oh, no, we're looking mostly at people that are still finishing, so that's exciting. I wanted to comment on that because I mentioned this on the live stream yesterday. We made pins, and one of them says, not here to win, I'm just here to make new puzzle friends. And the other one says, not here to make friends, I'm here to vanquish my enemies.
I did see those. Yeah.
And the vanquish my enemies one is completely gone. That one went immediately. We still have a lot left of the here to make friends, but I think that's because everybody gets the joke that it's ridiculous. We don't really have puzzle enemies, and nobody has a nemesis, and we're all very
I really enjoyed the button that was at the St. Paul. That was the here to kick some puzzling ass, but in a nice way. I was like, that's very much in keeping with how this competition goes.
Yep.
So do you have a sense of how many teams are likely to actually finish both puzzles?
I was just going to look at that. So thanks for reminding me, Rob, because we are entering results, and people can go to the worldjigsawpuzzle.org site. And when you go to that site, you go to the results tab and click on USA Jigsaw Nationals 2025. And then you should be able to see all the different divisions. But it doesn't look like anything's being entered yet. I just did a refresh. We've had a few issues off and on because, one, Tammy is our tech person, and she's no longer a board member, and she's competing. And so it's been fun because, you know, we don't want to bug her too much, but also we're trying to get used to the system that she had become like an expert on.
Yes.
So poor Heather has been like, okay, but I don't want to keep bugging her, but we're making it work. The results will start to filter in. I think why you're not necessarily seeing stuff right now is because we're still on the second puzzle. But once we start having people finish, then you'll get to see those results entered in there.
I just saw a team do a move that I'm 100% going to steal. And
What is it?
It's somebody opened the front of the bag, somebody else grabbed the back corners of the bag and just flipped the bag up, and the whole puzzle landed on the
What?
table. Yeah. I was
Wow,
like, oh,
fancy.
yeah. I lost precious seconds trying to get that bag open yesterday. That would have made all the difference for me.
Wow. Yeah, there's things like that you see that you're just like, wait, what? Like, what are they doing? Something else we noticed, so we give them the option on the table of having the 2 pieces of tag board, so they can spread it out and have it across the whole table, or they can just narrow it down and just have one, you know, basically one that's a little thicker or something. And so I've been kind of looking to see, did anybody do that, or did they all just keep the white all the way across the table?
So you're saying there's a piece underneath the piece that they have on the table? I didn't know.
Well,
Was
they
that
all
true
have
yesterday
2.
too?
Well, they're just the 2 that were on the tables when we were divided, you know?
Oh, yes,
And then we
yes.
just left both of them on there. So they can, you know, kind of push them together if they want, or they can just keep them spread out all over the table.
Can I just say that yesterday the Zatco borders were amazing.
Oh, good.
Like, not only that he brought them together as fast as it sounds like he did, but they did their job. They were really like fixed in place, which was my concern, is that you bump into it and off it would go.
Yep.
Loved it.
Oh,
Loved
great.
that so much.
Yay, good. Well, that's the idea. We wanted to develop something we could unveil here that would maybe become a standard, and other people could try to replicate, or, you know, work with Zach to get some of their own and use them at other events.
Yeah, I know plenty of people whose pieces have migrated across the table to another person using the table, or pairs or something like that, and it was a great solution.
Well, and somebody said yesterday too, it actually gave them more space to work, because they weren't so worried about their pieces
I bet that's
merging, that
right.
they were like keeping a big like 6-inch difference between the 2 piles. So it gave them actually more space to work with, which was a really great point to hear. So yeah, we were excited about all the feedback we got. Was really positive. I'm sure Zach is excited to hear that people like it, because I don't think that dude slept. I think for a couple of days he was just grinding to like get 100 of those done for us for this weekend.
Well, nice job, Zach.
Yeah.
We're looking at the figuras there for a sec. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of fill in for that first
hard.
puzzle. Like, once you get to the main. Sorry, I'm going through.
Yeah, go ahead.
Through a whole chest voice thing. It sounds like I'm finally hitting puberty. I apologize for doing that.
Oh no,
on
you're
here.
good.
But it looks like people are struggling with maybe the sky. Is that possible? Like, there's a lot of fill in once you get the major butterflies in that first puzzle in place. I'm seeing a lot of like just sort of gaps throughout as people are trying to fill those last pieces in.
Yeah, you're right. It's not like I'm seeing one consistent area every time that everybody's kind of doing last. It does kind of seem like a bit of a jumble.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if the sky. There's so many people for whom sky is a specialty.
Yeah.
I'd be sort of surprised if that was the thing that was leading to last. So I got to believe it's sort of hard to see, but I got to believe it's maybe the palm trees, or maybe we're looking down at the bottom corners.
I do want to give a shout out to the people that are really good at getting the puzzle in the box quickly and off the table, because that can really eat up seconds.
Yes.
And when you're this close in terms of, you know, finishes, getting into the final could mean the difference by just a few seconds. If there's another team across the room that's finishing the same time you are, you don't really know.
Yeah.
So if you can be efficient at things like that, that is a good thing to practice. And just get used to doing it, because sometimes it'll fall all apart and then you're sitting there picking up individual pieces and, you know.
Well, I saw that, I think it was the Jack bequick table 1, where the pieces sort of went everywhere on the floor too. You know, it's interesting that when my team practices, my regular team practices, and actually this team as well, we forget, it's easy to stop thinking about those small things that make the couple of seconds differences. But when you come to a competition like this, when you're in like with couple hundred other competitors, teams all going at the same time, those seconds matter. Every one of those seconds can be a place or several places.
Right.
We see a lot of times where people come in at the exact same time, and
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, if you would have had that one sort of push a little bit earlier, you know, you could have been faster, or you didn't have to drop something on the floor. You optimized that one last little thing. Those things can make huge differences.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's heartbreaking if you're going to miss getting into a final because of a 5-second difference or something like that, where you just immediately go, I remember when I did this and it cost us, that amount of time.
It's really easy to, especially in the middle of a puzzle, like it's really easy to sort of get yourself lulled into a state of like, I'm doing a puzzle.
Yes.
So you really need to kind of focus on like, how do I keep that energy up? How do I keep doing the thing, like giving 100% of my focus to this, because if you've got music on, you might just start drifting off into that. But all of those seconds matter.
Yep.
I would say a year or so ago, probably less so. But this year, I feel like everything over the course of this last year, we keep seeing more and more highly competitive teams coming together, individuals coming together, and that compressing the times that are as the times all bunch up.
Oh yeah, we're looking at about a minute difference between these top 3 teams.
Yeah.
So just little things are going to make the difference between first, second, and third.
We were talking about the flipping the bag open that caught my attention, and I love to think about what in like 10 years, if you came to the world of competitive jigsaw puzzling, like, would you even recognize the techniques?
Really?
Yeah, because when you see a sport or a competition in its early stages, people are doing sort of the traditional thing, and we've seen over the last year people are starting to break out of those traditional approaches to things. Like, would we have wildly different ways of putting a puzzle together?
Oh,
or
yeah, that's
getting
interesting.
a team
Yeah.
to put a puzzle together
Yep.
in 10 years that you wouldn't even recognize. You'd be like, so I'm always excited about like watching things like this and saying, oh, here's something new. This is a thing I've never seen before. Somebody has innovated in this space, because you wouldn't think there's a lot of room for innovation, but there always is. Every time you start something new, people just explore the possibility space and they create new things you would never imagine. So it's one of the reasons I love to watch things like this.
Yep. One thing I want to point out here is, so now we're only at an hour, and there's a lot of teams that are getting in under that hour mark. I'm really impressed. I mean, we're just seeing finishes pretty consistently here.
Yeah.
When we hit that, hour and a half mark and people aren't done, then you got to worry about, okay, now are they going to be able to get the next one done in under the 3 hours? So these folks are probably pretty safe, and that they can assume maybe they'll get the next one done and, complete both of them.
Yeah, I would say that the second one feels like it is not going to be as fast as the first one. So
I would agree.
If you haven't nailed the first one, you have 3 hours, so an hour and a half per puzzle. If you haven't nailed that first one in an hour and a half, unless you've got very specific specialties that the second puzzle is going to unlock for you, it's going to be not it's not an obvious win. You're going to have to push the whole time.
Yep.
I'd love to. We're seeing a couple of folks there with just their heads right up against each other.
Yeah, I know. Well, I recognize that team. I think that's Kim Kenny, Mary Carty. I'm not sure what table number they are, but I recognize a couple of the players. I think Lisa Fireman's on that team. Oh yeah, and there they are. Oh, and Larry Blank. Yeah, so nice job. Those guys are famous in the puzzling community for being folks that did the championships in the 1980s.
Yes.
And so it's kind of become a reunion, except for Lisa. I don't think she participated in those, but Kim and Mary and Larry all did those. And so it's been kind of a reunion for them now that nationals are back, that they get to come and do these, national championship events 30 years later, 30, 40 years later again. So
right. And I saw Andrew Bradburn out there.
Yep.
In the audience, another one from the 80s competitions.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to mention when we were talking about whether or not they'll finish in the 3 hours. I mean, I don't know. Like, do you think that more than half of this group is gonna get 2 1,000-piece puzzles done? I mean, we have a lot of newcomers here at AwesomeCon.
That's a great question. I would say, we have not seen half the field finishing most of the puzzles in the individual side of things. I feel like I didn't fully catch the pairs. Did you get the sense that the pairs were going?
Pairs were better. Yeah, we had a lot that finished in pairs, and those were shorter divisions. It was an hour and 15 minutes, and we would get, over 100 or so that would finish, so that was good. Yeah.
What was the decision for making that an hour and 15?
So that came from the fact that last year when we did it, all the pairs were finishing before the live stream was over. We scheduled the divisions to be an hour and a half, and then at an hour and 20, everybody was done. And I mean, not a bad problem to have, right? We love that everybody's getting to complete them, but we also, because of how hard it is to fit all of this into 3 days, just being able to shave off those few minutes helps us out a little bit. We gain like a half hour because then we need the time between divisions to get settled and everything. So yeah, it's challenging to get it all in a weekend. So we just thought if we can gain a few minutes here and there, let's do what we can to make that work. So we are joined by a guest.
Hello.
A very special guest, Allie Krasny from the board,
hi,
also
guys.
known as our
Hey,
MC.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Tell us what's happening.
I specifically went and walked through the floor really quick before coming over.
Yeah.
I really just wanted to come hang out with you guys, and then I was like, I should look at the puzzles because she's gonna have questions.
Sure. Yeah, we want to know how's it going out there. We're stuck behind the desk.
I know, right? It's going pretty well.
Yeah.
I was there for the first finishes, which was exciting. We have a system for the volunteers now. We're making sure there's 2 people kind of stationed watching, okay, you make sure the puzzle's finished and let them
You're
know
writing the time
your
down.
time,
Okay, yep.
and then make sure it comes off the table. There's been a lot of discussions about, what's exactly off the table and ready to
What
go.
is exactly off the table?
So the box top doesn't have to go onto the box. It's just the puzzle needs to be off the table.
Off the table.
Okay.
So if you were just to do an arm swipe.
And in the box.
Oh no, they can't.
and
They
in the
can't
box.
just. Yeah, it has
Must
to be in the box.
in the box and off the table, because
What
yes.
percent of pieces have to be in the box?
Yeah, there's definitely handfuls of pieces. I'm like, oh, they're missing 10 pieces. Oh, I see. Yeah. So
But
yeah,
a reasonable attempt
exactly.
at getting
It
things
was a
into the
reasonable
box.
attempt to get them all in the box. So yeah, that was a whole discussion. We were talking about how you make sure that you get consistent rule application for
Yes,
everyone.
that's
That's
good.
the
That's
easiest
smart.
because
Yep.
how on is on. If you put the box on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
How many volunteers does it take to run an event?
I think we have on the floor about 20, I think.
Yep.
So
Yeah, we did that because then with 100 tables, that's 5 or so tables that they're monitoring. So
Right.
that seems doable. And then they also can call somebody over if they need help. If they've got multiple tables in their tiny area that are finishing, then they can get some helpers.
right, yeah, and the board, generally board members, especially for kind of the more high-profile tables, try to be there as well. But it's really awesome because in our new space this year we have so much more space. So even though you might have 8 people hovering over a table, it's so much better. As Val
Yeah.
knows, I'm very traumatized
By last year.
By last year, because everyone gets so excited. They want to be in there, and you've got live stream crew, you've got volunteers, you've got social
Photographers,
media,
yeah.
photographers, and
Yep.
so it got stressful. So this year's been wonderful.
Yeah, no, we have a lot more space here, so that's been lovely to just have 4 feet between for people to walk through is
It's
a
really-
lovely
I have
thing.
to say, I was able to back my chair up and not immediately scoot the person behind me forward.
It
Yeah,
was
right?
great, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
been so nice. And
So nice.
Safer. We like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and but I mean, that's a sign of the growth too, because, before it was lovely. We could have almost like Puzzle Summer Camp in a hotel
Yeah.
and we're all together, but we've definitely grown beyond your
Yeah.
typical hotel ballroom. We're getting into convention center territory now. So
Right.
it's probably going to be more of that going
Yeah,
forward.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we need the space to accommodate all these puzzlers. I think you talked about, Allie, with the opening ceremonies, how much we've grown. So
Yeah.
do you remember those numbers off the top of your head?
Do I remember stats?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, our first year we did this, we estimated we had around 300 people there. We had 50 teams, 100 pairs, 100 solo. And for our second year, we pretty much doubled. And this year, we've more than quadrupled because we have 200 teams, 400 pairs, and 600 solo.
Wow.
So the solo has, 6 times larger. And so we
And you still filled capacity.
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
solos.
I think we had a handful of teams spots left, but we sold out individuals and pairs right away. We're still working on the right ratio of things.
Yeah,
Teams is a tricky one. Teams we sold out. We didn't sell out the first year. Teams we sold out the second year immediately in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then this year we still had a handful left, but we're getting there.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing because you would think teams would fill up right away, but more what I think that it's a symptom of is that people haven't met in person, and so they don't know how to find other team members.
Yeah.
So we actually end up with a lot of what happens is they get to the event, they meet other people, and then they're like, wait, you're not on a team? Oh, we should be on a team. And then they end up, forming a new team, and thankfully we have room for them to do that this year. So that's been lovely.
What someone was telling me just yesterday in North Carolina. There was a regional championship, and they had they went to do solos, and then they met someone, and they're like, oh, do you want to do pairs? And then some other pair found them and were like, oh, do you want to do a team? So they went with the intention of doing solos and then did all of the divisions. So
Nice. Okay, I just noticed you're wearing the shoes.
yeah, just in case you
Okay,
wanted to mention
I don't know
them.
if we'll watch, and if the camera comes to us, you're gonna have to take the shoe off and
I'll
show the
prepare
shoe.
it. I'll prepare it.
Because yes, Allie has created puzzle shoes. She's made it a
Created.
thing for her to do puzzle outfits, and she designs their outfits to be all coordinated for the weekend.
I like to call it puzzle chic.
Yes, puzzle chic. I think anybody who's familiar with our live streams now is like, what's Allie wearing?
I love it so much.
It's become a thing. You're known for now, Allie, is your outfits.
I like
So-
the challenge of being creative to be puzzly, but also be cute. Because puzzle stuff can get very bright.
It is usually very bright.
Sometimes, and very rainbowy.
Yes.
And I was like, how do I
very
make it a little
bold?
Yeah.
Bold is the word I'm going to use.
Very bold.
Yes.
Very bold.
I have to
kind
say,
words.
the teams are making a lot of progress.
I was
The-
going to
the
say, we
Betches
got to
and-
keep an eye
Oh,
on
yeah.
things.
and
Yeah.
Jack Bequick are both, from what I've
I
seen,
know, Jack Bequick
really,
is
it's coming
crazy.
together.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that, and it's not, I guess, terribly surprising, but just how sparse the different sections are. There's just a lot of gaps
Yeah.
in the middle of
Yeah.
everything.
Yep.
I think, we may be coming up on.
Yeah, I think.
Is it possible that we might get it under 120 something?
I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
so. I think
definitely.
under 120, but we definitely have established that Ingrid's was easier because we're past the 1 hour, 10-minute mark,
Yeah.
which would have been when they would have finished if the Dean one had proven to be as on an equal footing with Ingrid's.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that was wild. 35
35
minutes
was
for a
table
1,000
number
piece.
1. Yep. And then, but the table 2 and table 3 were less, about a minute and a half.
They were really close.
They were all really
It
close.
was really. It was
Yeah.
nice though for the judge because it was sort of like
Yeah, a little
they
bit
weren't too
space,
close,
right.
which is
Yeah,
terrifying.
I
when
was
it
going to say, are
happens.
you going to have to run over
I
there
might
all of a
with
sudden?
one shoe on.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I am keeping.
Yeah,
an
they're showing a
eye.
lot of
Okay, they
the
got a little
front
bit
teams
still.
right now to give people a sense that, yeah, we are going to be getting close maybe to
Yeah.
a finisher in this round. But and keep in mind, though, this is the qualifier. This isn't
Mm-hmm.
the championship. This just determines who moves on to the final tomorrow. I mean, they'll still be excited.
Oh, heck
They'll
yeah!
Still be excited to
What?
place first. What
Somebody
happened?
just said
Oh,
done.
they just yelled done on their first puzzle.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were very excited, which I get.
That's always confusing.
We actually
Yeah.
did have a little bit of extra excitement moment with Irina's team. I can't remember the
Okay.
name. It was that whole when can you open the bag, and they were still getting the puzzle off the table, and Irina started opening it, and we're like, not yet, not
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
She's like,
yeah.
oh, I was just so excited.
I think
so-
Irina's on That's So Ravensburger.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
that team name.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's a Ravensburger. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I love
Very
it a lot.
nice.
She's great. I love also hearing from her because she does all the speed run stuff, which is so cool.
Oh, yeah.
She was one of the front runners for the speed run.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Are you doing it?
I wanted to, and I started, and I got I think 30 attempts or something, and I just I didn't have time because of
Yeah.
stupid nationals, you know.
I want graphs.
Stupid nationals.
There
I
is
need
actually
data.
a graph that I was waiting to post, and I was like, I'm gonna post that. Okay.
Do you feel like you have to go? You maybe
Pieces missing, maybe. Okay, but I should go over there.
Okay, yeah. All
Okay,
right.
I'm gonna
Well,
put the
thanks
shoe
for
on.
stopping by.
Okay, thanks for having
We'll
me.
get your shoes on later.
It looks like the Juggernauts are having a good time. Jess
Oh,
is
and of
smiling
course
and
now
laughing.
we're on the screen when she doesn't have her shoe over here. Ellie just left, everybody. You'll have to see the shoes later. We'll have her back. I can't believe she walks around in those, though, today, like during the day. I would die. They're stilettos, in case any of you are curious. Juggernauts looking good. I'm seeing in the chat. Yeah, I think it's going to be really close between these top 3 teams. It is going to be close.
Looks like actually, so I can't track it really well, but is it possible the Betches are lagging a bit?
I can't tell because a minute ago I thought they were maybe in the lead. But it is hard to tell. I think judging from looking over and seeing William hovering that he thinks it's going to be table number 1. He's staring at them. He's not turning the other direction. What?
You said it's only the qualifiers, but for me, every round, I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yeah,
this is so
no,
exciting.
right. I know. I shouldn't minimize. Obviously, it's still like super exciting for them to like win because
Them,
they're
it's exciting
competing
for
against.
me.
Yeah, of course.
I don't care about them.
You're so selfish, Rob.
I am.
You're
I
just in it for your own gratification.
Honestly, the only reason I agreed to be on this live stream is because it puts me right up at the front where everybody else is, so I can watch them real close.
Great. I wanted to just hang out with you and visit, and you're
I mean,
like,
that is a great side effect. I will give you that. But being able to see them up close.
Right.
So, is there ever any talk about trying to make the front runners more visible, or is it intentionally left? Because they're very far away from where the actual
I know.
spectators are.
I mean, someday wouldn't it be great if there was just like a big perimeter and like bleachers and the whole thing? But no, I mean, it is intentional that we put them up towards the front where it's just easier access for the live stream crew. And then also, you know, now that we have the screen in here, I think that's probably the best way for people to be able to really watch the action anyway. So I think that, you know, it works out okay, but I know that's a frustration is like spectators are like, well, we want to be able to just like stand right next to them and watch. But yeah.
I do like the idea of bleachers. I've heard that come up in other
Right.
potential competitions, and the ability to, because what you don't want is to put them right up the front on the tape and have like random people just sitting there watching them, because people get to chatting and it can be very distracting. But giving people a place where like they can sort of see down into the field, I think that's a great idea.
Right.
Actually.
No, that would be great. I mean, that's what's fun when you have different venues where you have a like second floor where people can look over. But yeah, they're very close right now. I can see the table right from where I'm sitting, and I think it's definitely going to be table 1. They definitely have fewer pieces left than table 2, which you're.
The Betches. And then the Juggernauts are third.
So
currently.
yeah, right now we're seeing all 3 of the top 3 teams. And Juggernauts definitely, I don't know. I feel like them and the Betches, I think, are maybe still kind of vying for that second place. But it's so hard to see with the table number 1 because they're all like right on top of it.
I know. Look at this. This is the best part. When you come right down to the end and everybody's like, especially in a team scenario where you have a bunch of people on the team who are like able to coordinate their hands all at the same time. Like everybody's got their hands in there, everybody's moving fast. Like on my team, you know, my coordination is not strong, so I sort of fade away into the background and let the people who can go fast. But when you have a team like the Jack Bequick, like the Betches, like the Juggernauts, who are like all high performance speed puzzlers, and some of whom have been practicing together for a long time. Like that last flurry is just
the
so
last
exciting
flurry
to
is
watch.
just like a crazy like orchestration of hands that's happening. I will say I'm kind of shocked that the Betches have Dawn like kind of working off that tray. It looks like I don't know if it's just holding pieces for her or if she's sorting things, but yeah, I just was sort of like, oh, wait, they're employing that tray quite a bit. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
1 hour, 19, maybe 07 or something like that. So we have Jack Bequick,
Impressive.
number 1. I think it's going to be a pretty decent time split here. I think we're looking at least a minute or two before another one's going to finish.
I think you're right, yeah. And it looks like it might be the Betches currently. It's a little hard to see. They have their pieces spread out a bit more. But it looks like the Juggernauts have a lot, still a fair amount left to kind of put in there. So.
Yeah, that's the feeling on the chat too. I'm seeing people be like, I think it's going to be Betches number 2, Juggernauts number 3. I think they're going to maintain that order, which is also interesting. That just kind of shows that it was like none of the teams really had a big advantage over another in terms of the puzzle
Yeah,
image.
that's a great point. If they come together so quickly at the very end.
Yep.
Nobody, it's not like there was a great dominant
Right.
team on the first side and then a dominating team on the second side.
It also tells you that you got to be fast right out of the gate, because even just that little bit of time difference finishing the first one isn't going to necessarily translate to we can catch it up in the second one.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that is a really solid time. So that's definitely each one taking, less than around 45 minutes if you look
Average
at.
amount.
Yeah, that's crazy. Especially when you talk to people and they're like, yeah, we put a 1,000-piece puzzle out and it'll sit out for weeks. And these folks are like, give us 45 minutes and
That's
we'll be done.
It's like, I'm always impressed when I see people on Instagram post how many puzzles they did in practice with their team or their individuals, and they're standing next to a stack of puzzles. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, they're doing these puzzles remarkably fast to begin with. I could do a third of that stack maybe.
Yeah, I think too what's crazy is that I remember just a few years ago hearing about a puzzler in the UK, and I'm blanking on the name, so I feel bad, but Amber Hagelin-Pagel, who's from Duluth, shout out to Amber, went to the UK Championship on her way to the 2022 World Championships. And she's like, there was a woman there who finished a 1,000-piece puzzle by herself in an hour and a half.
Wow.
And I just remember being like, that's insane. Nobody does that. What are you talking about? But it literally feels like it's a regular thing now.
Yes.
That you're seeing these puzzlers that can keep up that level of speed for a 1,000-piece puzzle on their own. So that's basically, I'm doing 2 500s in 45 minutes or so, and now I'm doing 1,000 in an hour and a half. But what's so crazy about that is that, to me, a 1,000-piece puzzle is just exponentially harder than a 500, right?
That's right, yeah.
Just in terms of sorting and just the amount
there's
of organization
more,
it takes.
More combinations of pieces.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And so
absolutely.
it's kind of crazy to me how they can just basically go, yeah, my average time for 500's around 40 minutes, and then I can also do that for 1,000, which is what?
Yeah.
If I break 3 hours on 1,000, I'm like, woo! That's a major accomplishment. And now there's people doing them in an hour and a half, hour and 20, and you're just like, what is going on?
That's right. Yeah, and I think we haven't seen the peak of that yet either. I think we're only just starting to see people in this last year. I feel like especially are really putting in the reps. They're doing lots of puzzles. They're really focused on trying to optimize their capabilities. And I think that we're seeing the result of that across the world. We're seeing just a huge number of people who have elevated their game a lot.
Yep.
And I bet you there's still a lot of room left.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially looking at Connor, 11-year-old Connor. Oh, here, the Betches are very close. Yeah, the Betches are definitely going to finish.
Well,
the
they still got a
Juggernauts
fair
are
amount on
close,
their
though. We're
tray.
seeing 3 teams on there right now, but the Juggernauts and the Betches, and I do think the Betches have it.
Yeah. One of the
Yeah.
nice things, well, it's actually the Juggernauts are doing a great job of getting those pieces out there.
Yeah.
The Betches have the tray centrally located, which I
Yep.
really love.
Yep.
Everybody on the Juggernauts is having to reach way over.
Oh, whoa,
There they
there it
go.
happened. The Juggernauts got them. I didn't see that coming.
And there's
Oh,
the
and then
Betches
that's just right after.
just
So like
after
one.
it. That is amazing.
Oh, it's so close.
Nice job to both teams.
Yeah, that was crazy. Wow. Tight finishes on that round. That was nuts. I think they were only maybe eight or so seconds behind the Juggernauts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was going to
really,
say, I felt like the
that's
Juggernauts
impressive.
were doing themselves a disservice by having to reach way over to grab all those pieces, but
Mm-hmm.
clearly did not slow them down enough.
Wow. Well, we'll get the winners over here after they've had a chance to decompress a little bit so we can ask them about some of their strategies because, yeah, those were incredibly fast times. I'm sure they're all feeling a little exhausted right now.
Yeah.
That intense of a focus is tough to maintain for that amount of time, so that's really impressive. So there we're seeing Doug. I recognize Doug.
I recognize Doug as well. Family
Yep.
fun time.
Yep.
Looks like they're working on their second puzzle.
So what I was going to mention about like talking about, you're kind of commenting on we're just seeing the beginning of when people could really
Right.
accelerate those times. So we had Connor on here yesterday. He's 11 years old and he's like this puzzle phenom. And I saw on Instagram last night, he did one of the individual heat puzzles. He would have won that round
Yeah.
if he had participated. And, we have a rule. You need to be 16 to participate in the individual rounds. But, of course, he went and bought all the puzzles so that he
Sure.
could immediately do
Why
them.
would he not?
Right?
Like, he loves to puzzle, right?
He does. He loves to puzzle. And then he timed himself and filmed and, posted on Instagram. And it's like, yep, he was killing it. He did one of those. He did the red, white, and blue puzzle in a little over 34 minutes.
Oof.
And our winner in that division was Lauren Kautz, and she did it in around 37. So he handily would have won that round had he been in there, which is just absolutely crazy to me that, that level of talent in an 11-year-old. It's just amazing.
I saw him do a side-by-side with Kyle at the carnival, at St. Paul Winter Carnival. And, Connor finished so far ahead of Kyle that I was like, okay, well, clearly he's practiced the puzzle before because I know he does a lot of puzzles. Connor, he's very into puzzles, does a ton of puzzles. So I was like, well, I don't know if he's done this puzzle a bunch of times,
Right.
but he just continues to prove that he's got deep skill because he whips it out every time he's able to. Brand new puzzle, knock it out.
We'll get ready for guests, so I'm just going to move. I'm going to scooch down, or we can both scooch down. All right, we are joined by our first place team from this round, Jack Bequick.
Yes.
Can you guys explain the name? I mean, it seems obvious to me, but maybe you want to explain where the name comes from.
Well, we've had to explain it to a few people. Jack is our initials, Jean, Andrea, Kathy, and Kelly. And so when we figured that out, there are a lot of options, but that's the one we liked the best. And we also discovered after the fact that we could use the B to stand for our 5th unofficial team member, who was Becca Taylor, who was our last team member before we had to find a new one and got Kelly. So.
That's awesome. I love that you have a little honorarium right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so tell us about the puzzles. What do you got? Give us all the dirt.
The puzzles were fun.
Yeah.
The imagery was fantastic. Great for teams. We opened the Dean and we were all like, "Yay for the Dean!" And, it was Ingrid's on
You have a special affinity for the Dean puzzles.
We do. Yeah. So it was, and those, I mean, all the grins and smiles on his pictures just make it so much fun to puzzle.
It took a while for the pieces to start making sense, though. It was a bit of, there's just so many different elements that it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, the Dean one took everybody longer than the Ingrid image. And Ingrid was here with us, which was lovely. So she's doing a signing later if you guys want to meet her. She's so sweet. And she was so impressed because she was sitting here when you guys finished. She was like, what? So that was a pretty fast time, 35 minutes. Are you surprised by that? Is that a I mean, you guys haven't been a team that much, so you don't have a lot to compare to. But yeah, were you expecting to be able to get one done that quickly?
I was going to say, I mean, I would say yes, because we're both pairs, right? Like, so
Yeah.
we know each other, and we've all puzzled together in some fashion. And when we saw that come out, like, the border with all the purple and the butterflies, it was an easy split. So
All right, keep
Gina
on
and Andrea tackled
puzzling.
it, and
Keep
Kelly
on
and I started
puzzling.
in the
I just
center.
wanted to make a
So
quick
but you worked against
announcement. We
pairs
do
there.
have our top 3 finishers.
'Cause we commented as soon as the puzzle came out that it
So
seemed very
in
divided,
third
like you were
place,
saying, and so
we
you just-
have the
you sort of jumped in.
Juggernauts.
Did you expect that you would
Woo
be
for
dividing
them.
the puzzle up? Like, was your
And
first
just
approach coming into this?
nine-
We'll just
oh,
figure out
no.
who's going to take care
So
of which
sorry,
parts of
just
things,
kidding.
or
In third
did you
place,
to
we have the
change that when you
Betches.
started seeing the puzzles coming out?
I should check my notes. They were so close,
we
you
have-
guys.
we
They were
have
9
positions
seconds
where we
apart.
always
It was very
sit,
close.
and we
we
know
have
that,
the
like,
we
I
put
do
the
the
Betch
edge,
and you Betches
Jean
in
usually
third
focuses
place,
on
and just
sky.
9
Kelly's
seconds ahead of
a
them,
really
the
good
Juggernauts.
sorter,
Give
but,
them both a
like,
round of
they'll
applause.
sort while we're getting started on things, and then it's kind
Cool.
of
I'll figure it out. And in
all over the
first
place,
place,
but,
we have
we know
Jack
where we sit
Bequick,
and who can
I'm
puzzle
pretty
upside
sure.
down and who kind of like
Congrats to
starts
all
out
of
the
them.
first 10 or
Everyone's doing
15
such a
minutes.
great job.
who's the
Keep
upside
on
down
puzzling. You've
specialist?
got another hour and a half worth of time, so keep on going.
And so what did you think once the second puzzle came out?
I thought, oh, this is busy, but it also reminds me of Busy Birdies. So it's-
And
Yeah.
was that one, it seemed less easily dividable. Is it still, how did you approach it?
it was kind of a free for all.
You guys- Everybody just calls what they want?
Yeah.
I think at one point Andrew was putting in flowers, I was putting in fish. I forget. Jean was doing the shark. I don't know what Kathy was doing.
Yeah, I was doing randomly
Yes,
everything.
yes.
The nice thing was, you know, if you saw something, you called it out, and somebody probably had seen it somewhere, so they pointed you to the right direction, which is great.
I was going to say the Ocean Lounge one is full of just such funny little details, like the one wearing the big gold sunglasses, like the Elton John sunglasses, and one with the cigar. I mean, it's so much fun. So if we'd have been recording your audio, would we have heard some very weird things happening there?
I think probably a lot of, does anyone have a yellowfin? Seeing like the green shark glasses, there was a Hawaiian shirt.
a couple comments of where's plaid, or like, is there a checkerboard somewhere? And there were multiple checkerboards.
The commentary when both of us, well, Andrea saw it first and I didn't hear her, but then she commented out the clownfish wearing the red rubber nose for the clown.
Oh,
Yeah.
cute.
That's great.
That's the thing. He always has little things like that, these little details that are kind of funny and like making, they're kind of like little riddles to solve in a way, and have this like meaning. And yeah, your other team name, which you've used for World Championship Busy Birdies, is from a Dean McAdam puzzle. So I do feel like you have a bit, I promise we weren't trying to give you an advantage over with your Dean McAdam relationship. It just worked out this way.
That was one of my thoughts. Was at the end, I looked at the name to see, like, is it a good puzzle name for a future world name, like the Speedy Sharks or something.
Ocean Lounge. So
Yeah, the Ocean Lounge
Yeah,
is maybe not
yeah.
the same. But, Val, I want you to know, did you hear us when we finished?
No. Did you say bingo?
We shouted bingo. But you did look over. So.
I was probably a little distracted trying to, talk with Ingrid, but that's hilarious that you said bingo. Oh, goodness. That's a bit of an inside joke, folks, for those of you listening. Based on a very embarrassing, almost for me, movie that we did years ago as part of a 48-hour film festival that happened to be about a speed jigsaw puzzling contest. Yeah. But there they say bingo instead of done. We had somebody, I don't know if you guys noticed, I think you were still puzzling and somebody yelled done.
Yeah.
And were you like, oh God? Or did you get it that was their first puzzle?
We figured it was their
you did?
Yeah. It's always a little scary though. It's a little shocking.
Well, I feel like it's especially concerning when it comes from way in the back because sometimes, especially in the early rounds, like you don't know.
Yeah, there could be somebody.
Fortunately, we've gone through the individuals and the pairs, so there's a chance to flesh out like your Alice Rose of the world, where she was way in the back, but occasionally somebody in the back is doing something amazing. So. Did you guys get to practice together much? I know that Kelly, you especially are sort of located differently, and actually you're all in very different locations.
Did we do one puzzle together? Two.
Two. We did two on.
Thursday night.
Just give us at least some people a little hope here, you
I
guys.
need to see the stack of puzzles that you guys work through.
Right. They're like, well, we came in first in the division. This is the third puzzle we've done together. So
We've all puzzled together.
that's true.
Otherwise.
Yeah.
All four of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. I do feel like they're watching you. It just seemed like right out of the gate, and Ingrid commented on this too. She was like, it just seems like they have purpose, they know what they're doing. There's not debate, it's structured. It's like, do you feel like that? Like that you have like a way of doing it and you're all very much on the same page? Or is there still some, oh, what about this? Or should we do this? Or do you just feel like, nope, this is how we do it and we're all on that? And
I think we're pretty established in our ways.
mm-hmm.
But also Ingrid's puzzle really lent itself well to a very snap decision of making sure we knew exactly what we were going to do. So her image was perfect for that.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, because I think that's where teams struggle a little bit sometimes, is figuring out how they work together and the best approach to thing. And then maybe they start to doubt and go, oh, should we switch directions or should we try it this way instead? And yeah, with you guys, it was like you were all just intently focused. It didn't even look like you were talking that much. And you all had a job. And it was just like, wow, like you just were zoned in from the get-go.
One thing I think I appreciate, and we all appreciate about each other, is we have very respectful management. Like we don't lean on the pieces, we work outside. So everybody, to try to be able to see, we're trying to constantly get everybody into the mix. So I know I've puzzled with some people who are less self-aware, but because we've done it so much, we know kind of how to sit, where to put your hands, how to pass pieces instead of
Right.
leaning on it. And I think that makes a big difference working with people who understand just kind of where to be and how to position yourself. I don't know.
Although I will say one thing that added a little bit of a wrench to the works here is the humidity. I feel like, because we're all from dry climates, right? Like I feel like you could just slap your hand on the table and come up with a whole piece stuck.
Yes, I was doing that yesterday. I'd lean on and I'd just come up with an armful of pieces. Yeah.
You shouldn't be leaning, Rob.
Yeah. Listen, there's a reason I'm talking to you and you're not talking to me about this. I'm getting tips from you guys because you guys are the best in the world. So, you don't look to me for options here.
I did notice, and I'm going to have to ask the Juggernauts about this, that they seemed like they were mostly working with dominant hands and not having all 8 hands in there at once. And kind of, it didn't look as chaotic a little bit. Like when they were working, they were all kind of placing with one hand. Do you guys think about that at all? Or are you 2 hands all the time?
I don't think it's deliberate, but a lot of, we just have done so many puzzles over the years that we're just using both hands probably sporadically throughout. But it's not a conscious choice.
Okay.
At least not for us. Not for the people in the back row here.
Yeah.
I think at the end I definitely am a little more conscious about trying to just go to where my piece is and try and stay out of everyone's way, but it's not always feasible.
Yeah.
Do you have general, you guys were definitely extremely focused. You can see it. You see the Betches a little bit were more chatty and, talking about, and we know that they like to talk about stuff, but do you have an awareness of how the other teams are pacing, or are you guys really just focused on your own game the whole time?
I checked in like halfway through the last one just to see.
Just to see?
Yeah. I have a really bad habit of looking at what other people are doing. So.
But you can't always tell because
Yeah.
there's bodies in the way, there's arms, there's
Absolutely.
signs and boxes.
And
so
there's other teams.
there's other teams
Yeah.
who are not
So-
right next to you. You
That's
have no
right.
idea. So it's best just to not try to not look.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you seemed just so enraptured in the work that you were doing. There was not time to look around, right?
Are you feeling tired at all? I mean, it was only an hour and 15 minutes, right? It's like walking the park.
I feel okay. We have a long time until 6 o'clock
Yeah.
for the final, so.
Are you going to do more puzzles?
Probably.
Not me.
Maybe.
Kelly's like, maybe.
No, I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah.
I want to get a nice lunch today.
Yeah. Well, we can let you do that. We can let you go. Thank you so much for coming over.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, we'll of course be watching you later, all of you tonight. So good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I think we're going to have to move mics. Yes. All right, we have our second place team from this last qualifying division of the team contest. We're joined by the Juggernauts, and we have Kelly, Alice, Jessa, and Hannah. So that was very exciting.
Oh,
you guys
man.
kept us on our toes there.
We had no idea how close we were to the next team, to the Betches.
We were calling it wrong down to the last few seconds.
Oh, really?
We were like, I think it's going to be the same 1, 2, 3 Betches, and then all of a sudden you were done, and we were like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, I was watching Alice just kind of rip those last few pieces into place.
It was all you. It was all you, Alex.
Yeah, that was really exciting. Thanks for switching it up for us and making it like, whoa, all of the edge of
It was a
receipts.
nail biter in the best possible way. So
Yes.
we appreciate your putting in the entertainment value for us. That's really what we're here for.
Yeah, that was super fun.
So how was the whole competition? Like, did you find that the first puzzle was fun and interesting? Like, what were your thoughts?
I think everybody's favorite was the first one.
Yeah.
And what made
We
it
had
your
a good
favorite?
system. Jess and I started on the edge, and it was great that we both did the edge because there were 3 levels of pieces to finish the entire purple edge with the butterflies.
Yeah.
So that took a lot of time, and we knew the edge pretty well after we had done the outer edge to fill in the rest of the edge, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
How was it having a 3 deep edge? Like, usually you just have the one.
I loved it.
It was
'cause
wonderful.
It eliminated so many more pieces from the middle. So then
Yes.
Alice and I were basically just doing a slightly smaller puzzle in itself.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
then when they finished the edge, we dropped in everything we had done, and then
Yeah.
it all just kind of flew.
Yeah.
So you're doing the rest of the stuff outside of the edged puzzle?
The inside part.
Oh, really?
Because
And
there
then
were
you just
so
like,
many purple
okay.
pieces,
Yeah.
and they were kind of just dumped in the middle, so we had to finish that before we could drop the chunks in.
Got it.
Okay, cool. Did you guys use trays at all? I didn't see it.
Yeah,
Or did you?
needed more on the first one.
Oh, you
that
did.
was a sorter's paradise. I was like, I can sort everything.
Yes.
Ran out of space. So we didn't have big trays. In hindsight, it could have been nice. It ended up being fine.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't complain. I mean, you all got that first puzzle done so quickly. I mean, I think you were right around 36 minutes, and we were just like, I think the predictions were around 40, and then it was like 35, and then you guys were like right after that. We were like, wow, like those are blazing fast times. But yeah, then what did you think when you pulled out the Dean McAdam? Had you glimpsed it when the other team opened, or did you not see it at all until it came out?
I like it, but I like to pick and drop. So that was
Oh, you're
more
a
my
pick and placer.
style of
Yeah.
piece of puzzle. But Alice felt like she wasn't.
Yeah, Alice, how did
We
you
didn't
feel
utilize
about
her
it?
as well.
No, it was busy, so I'm not as good if I can't have like chunks to work off of. So it was, it was a lot different than the first style, but it was still fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love the image. Just a hard to spin puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So did you have a sense of where the other teams were by the time you were coming towards the end?
Nope.
Did you realize how close you guys were?
No,
Not at all.
I feel like I sort of knew.
Is
'Cause I
that
was
right?
sitting like
She
the
did tell us.
closest to them, and I could like
Yeah.
hear like some chit chat about it.
Oh, you could pick up on the sort
Yeah.
of building energy behind
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So that's something I want to ask about, because a lot of you use headphones when you puzzle, and then in a team thing you can't, because you have to be able to communicate. How hard is that, or how different is that for you when you're like, oh, now I got to hear all the chatter in the room, and I'm going to maybe be more cognizant that there's cameras and volunteers and all these people around?
I think most of like it is like white noise.
Yeah, with the teams, it's so the general noise level is louder, so it's not as distracting.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it was like a library in here yesterday during individuals.
Yeah.
So quiet. To the point where if somebody did something, you were like, what is that? What? It was like, you felt like you have to shush everybody. It was very quiet in
Yeah,
here.
I think pairs is like, it's hard because some pairs are really silent and some pairs are very chatty. So it can be like slightly more distracting because, well, you're sharing a table with another team, first of all, but then also it's just like different styles. But in teams, I'd say for the most part, everyone talks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did this team come together?
Jessa and I were partners last year, and then she paired up with Kelly.
And
then
matched these
made
two.
us and said, so you guys
We're
be together,
sticking
but
together.
also we want to still be with you. It all worked
It was an
out.
ultimatum. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It really worked out nicely.
It's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
We're sending each other love texts last
Yeah,
night.
I
We just
love
our
you guys.
team so much.
It's true.
It's true.
We're a little sappy.
Yeah. When,
Oh, go ahead.
when I first heard that you guys this team was coming together, I was like, oh, that's going to be a great team. Like I was very excited and not surprised at how well you guys are doing. You guys are doing an amazing job.
Well, and the name is perfect. I love the Juggernauts. Like, that's so cool. So who came up with the name? And then you have shirts too. So Jessa.
Yeah.
Both the name and the shirt.
I love it.
Do you want to read the definition?
Oh yeah, I don't know if I can do it upside down. Yes, it's
So
any
Jess is-
large, overpowering forces or objects, such as a strong speed puzzling team.
Nice.
Awesome. So Jessa, you're not the upside down specialist on your team then.
Actually, she
Oh, I
thinks so.
got upside down.
Yeah. Just can't read it upside down.
I just can't read upside down. I'm like, wait. Yeah, it would have taken me a little bit longer. We don't need that on the live stream.
No, that's really cool. I mean, because I'm a Juggernaut X-Men fan, so I immediately think of the character, and then I'm like, oh yeah, Juggernaut. That's perfect. Why haven't I thought of that? I'm mad. It's like, that's a perfect team name.
I love the
Trademark,
depth of your
sorry.
knowledge on all kinds of fronts.
Stick it together.
Yeah, I'm a multifaceted person, It's
Yeah.
not just puzzles for me. You wouldn't know that, but yeah, right. But yeah, so I have to ask, because I asked the other team, are you going to take a break now until pairs tonight, or are you more puzzling on the agenda?
Talked about it. We'll probably practice another pairs.
Yeah.
With pairs?
Yeah.
All good.
We have like 6 hours.
Yeah.
6 hours, too much time to go
So much
without.
time to not puzzle.
You got to get more in there. Yeah.
We had never puzzled as a foursome or pairs until
Thursday
night. We did teams, and then Friday was the first time we ever puzzled as pairs.
Yeah.
So
Yep. One puzzle. Was it one
use a
puzzle for
little
you?
more practice. Yeah.
Yeah, one.
It was a really bad one for us too. Yeah.
Well, so how are you feeling about your progress then? I mean, okay?
Good. The team pairs is so much fun. I really, truly love this team and Jessa and love my parents. It's just,
We're going to cry now.
Okay. Yes, give us drama. Cry. Like, people love it.
It's already halfway over, guys.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
So sad.
Only
Sorry.
halfway just began.
I feel like my team's doing it wrong by practicing too much because we've had 2 teams come in here and we're like, we didn't practice much at all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't practice too much.
My team, like when we're coming into a competition, we don't usually do a bunch the day before. We try to give ourselves like a break day before, so we're not already walking in fatigue.
We didn't know how our strengths were going to balance, so we really needed to practice.
Yeah, no, that
So
makes sense.
Did
Yeah.
things explicitly fall into place then? Did you figure out some things? Like what were some of the things you discovered after puzzling together for the first time?
I think also just being more comfortable with each other and like we were all up like hands everywhere type of thing.
Hello, Alice.
No personal space, especially on that second one.
Yeah.
All hands everywhere.
Yeah.
It definitely looked like everybody was going to do a little bit of everything all the time on that second one.
Yeah, definitely.
Octopus puzzle.
That's legit. That is a thing. Like you do have to get that comfort level to be like in each other's space, not saying sorry every 2 seconds because you're hitting
We
hands.
will not to say sorry all weekend. We're still like, sorry.
Sorry for saying sorry.
That sounds exactly like my team. That's hilarious. We were noticing, I thought I kind of noticed, and maybe it was just coincidence of when I was looking, but that like when you were puzzling as a foursome, that like I felt like I was seeing Alice, you were using like your dominant hand a lot to place, as well as Hannah, and not getting both hands in there all the time. Was that a conscious thing of like we don't need 8 hands in there?
We were both sitting where like my left hand was in the puzzle and your right hand was, which it's true. I tried as much as I could to just pass things to Kelly and Jessa, but occasionally I literally did like the reach around. Like, not in the way. But, as few hands in the puzzle as possible is nice.
Yeah.
Do you do the thing, because this is something I didn't see ever until the last few years, of where somebody will have like 5 pieces in their hand and just hold it out, and then other people can grab off of it? Yeah. So you do, guys, you do that?
I think we did that in pairs yesterday.
Yeah.
I had a few in my hand.
Yeah. That helps. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like I first saw Andrea Pang doing that, where I was like, she's holding pieces, which I would normally think is a no-no, but she's got them right out in the middle of everybody.
Yeah, well, it's better than being on the puzzle.
And did you guys you make a lot of use of trays in either puzzle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The first one, definitely.
Thanks, Zacco.
Not really. Yeah.
So I just was told that there's 2 Georgia teams like battling it out right now, who are like really close to each other.
The Cherry Blossom Challengers. I got a shout out to the local.
And there's the Oddbirds. They're closing in.
Oh, there we go.
Yay, good
Another
job.
team finished. Yay!
I haven't been keeping track. Do we know how
Turtle,
far in
Min,
we're in?
Jasper, and is it Jamie? Am I getting that name right? I hope so. Yep. That's exciting. Well, yeah, so are you just like, it's like, okay, we can chill a little now?
Yeah.
Good, yeah? That's a nice feeling.
Get some food
Yeah,
later.
and Pierce Final is going to be so much fun.
Yes.
I'm not giving anything away by saying that. I think it's safe to say it'll be fun.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Well, we'll see.
We were wondering why the time limit went longer. So it's
I think we just were like, the 1 hour 15, I was telling Rob here, last time it was like people were all finishing in that amount of time. And it helped us with the schedule to not have, to just shave off those few minutes. But then at the same time in the final, you want as many teams to finish as possible, because a lot of pairs didn't actually finish yesterday.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't think we ever are basing time decisions on the puzzles. I think it's safe to say that.
Okay,
So it's
that's
not
good
going to be that. But I don't want to be like giving things away. But I mean, I think that wasn't a part of the calculation.
Okay.
Yeah. But
That was part of our calculation.
we'll just have to see. I know everybody's been sleuthing on that, and everybody's been asking me that. Is it because it's hard? And I'm like, it didn't have anything to do with the decision, right? Exactly.
Yeah, because I was definitely like, we're gonna have to up our game that second round.
No, I think the schedule was pretty decided before we saw puzzles, honestly. When we're making schedule decisions, it's more like how much time do we have in the venue? How much time do we need before divisions? It's that kind of stuff. And then the puzzle decisions, when we're making those, you can kind of assign, you can be like, well, this would be the good one for this round. And this would be, it's so times were already decided before we were doing any of that. Yeah. Yeah. But I love the sleuthing. It delights me that everybody's
so much
speculating.
When I listened to this live stream, I need to go back and watch them all. Little tidbits in every one.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to cram all of this stuff into 3 days, so it's a challenge. I don't know what we're going to do when we get even bigger and bigger, because it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and we want to accommodate as many people as possible, but we also don't want you all puzzling from 8 in the morning until like midnight either, so we have to figure
If
it out.
anyone could do it, it's these people, right?
You're all like,
imagining
that's
a
fine.
Coliseum where everybody's in the bleachers and stands.
Well, and I feel like having a room with more than 100 tables is like, no, thank you. Like, I would love it if we could keep it 100 and more manageable for volunteers and entering results and all of that stuff. But I don't know, man. We're going to have to see for our next one what the demand is like. And yeah.
Yeah, because at some point you might need qualifiers.
Right. I mean, we don't want to do that because we want anybody who wants to do it to be able to do it. But you're right. I mean, yeah.
But then you get
Rob
to,
points to himself.
You get to like Worlds where there's like, what is it, 6 days now?
Yeah,
of Worlds?
yeah. Which
so
that's a huge commitment for people. So, yeah. We're not aiming for that ever.
I mean, it's also
One, I can't do it as an organizer. It's
I was
too
gonna say,
exhausting.
yeah, it's a huge commitment for the people who put it on.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. And we've talked about, do we do simultaneous stuff? Like we could have multiple qualifiers running at the same time. But then, which ones do I live stream? Goodness, that gets hard to decide, right? Maybe it'll be just finals or live streamed at some point. Who knows?
The media empire is
Feel free to share your ideas, because we are kind of going, what are we going to do with more people? Yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
It is, right? And you guys are helping to grow that community because you have a lot of fans and you're inspiring a lot of folks with your amazing puzzle skills. So, it's exciting. But yeah, thanks for coming over. Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That was very fun to watch. Yeah, we love
appreciate
it.
the entertainment.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Have fun for the rest of your day and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. And now we are joined by, we put the Betcha in You Betcha. Or the Betch, sorry, the Betch. I can't read and I can't think today. I'm losing it, you guys. I'm losing it.
And we're all just in the habit of saying the Betches. So.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to just say the Betches, and I'm like, I should probably say the full thing. Yeah. But yes, so congratulations, you guys. That was a nail biter. We were all like, oh, what's going to happen? And we thought you were just going to maintain the 1, 2, 3. And then all of a sudden the Juggernauts were done, and we were like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was not our puzzle. The second one.
No.
The second one.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. As
What
soon
was-
as we saw it.
What was challenging about the second one? Because I sort of felt like it had a lot going on, which I feel like plays into at least some of your guys' strengths.
I think because Andrea usually does a lot of our sorting, there wasn't a lot to sort out. So then we didn't necessarily have like a backup job to do there, or like where we should go next with Andrea until things started clicking together, and then we were able to figure it out. But right away, I think it was a little slow in the initial beginning.
What did you ultimately end up focusing on then?
A lot of just picking, like Sarah and Dawn were grabbing smaller chunks and trying to put those together, and then I would grab them and put them in, and then try to make, like, Lauren has no problem puzzling in messiness. so I try to make sense of her madness sometimes. But while so then you just get to a point where you're like, all right, I know this eyeball, that goes to this fish, and then you just kind of, go from there. So, yeah. It took a little bit to get the groove, though, for
We
sure.
did have the eyeball pile.
Yes.
Did you really get an eyeball pile?
Oh, yeah. Always.
Oh, that's funny.
They distract me. It's like the puzzle's looking back at you.
Did you have a coral pile?
No.
Or was it too hard to distinguish?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Pinks.
We wondered about that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, we were thinking the same exact thing, that one's not one that you can really do much in the way of a sort.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus the Ingrid one. So what we've heard from almost everybody is like, yeah, you assign somebody to that frame on the Ingrid one.
Yeah.
And then that got rid of so many pieces that then other people just focused on the inside. Is that what you guys did as well?
Yeah, we teamed up together for the frame for
Yep.
most of it. Like, I did the actual border, and then
We started grabbing the rest of the purple to fill it in.
and then
They built the big butterflies.
I don't know what we did.
Yeah.
That was so long ago. I can't. We put some pieces together.
I'm curious, did you guys think this underwater one or the birdies one from last year was harder?
Oh, good question.
Equal, like, I mean, all of his images are pretty equally, like this type, are pretty equally difficult. I think I struggle a lot with images. Like, I love a busy image, so it looks like it's going to be mine, but I like images that have lines. So on the Ingrid one, I mean, maybe it's just like this, maybe Ingrid actually like draws on physical paper.
She does, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
whereas Dean does the digital art. And when digital art doesn't have like the solid lines, like it kind of fades and
Yeah, yeah.
whimsical.
The face I just made.
I was gonna say,
I don't hate it, but it's harder.
Yeah, yeah.
Sarah's on record against whimsy.
Whimsical nature out.
No fun, no whimsy. It needs to be lines.
I like a line. I like
No,
a
yeah.
solid line.
Yeah, yeah.
So you guys got through the first puzzle. I assume that it went fast. It was easy to chunk. People knew what they were doing. And you
Yep.
opened the
Did
second
they
puzzle.
show our box breakdown? Because we nailed that.
Is that right?
I think so. I'm going to rate them in the next one. I'm going to rate everyone's breakdown of the first puzzle. Their burrito.
She will not hold back either.
No. we did see a few where like there was pieces went everywhere. We were trying to figure out how many pieces are required to be in the box for it to be counted as being in the box.
If you just threw it off the table.
Yeah, apparently that's a no-no. That was my first thought is, can I just clear the table? But
Look like you tried.
so when the second puzzle came out, did you guys like have it like immediate discussion about like how that went versus the other one? Like, what was your impression of it?
What do we do?
Well, we were just we have a system, so we've got four sorting trays.
Yep.
Lauren grabs the box top. Sarah grabs the bag and dumps across the
Dawn
four
dumped
trays.
this time.
Okay, Dawn dumped this time. Dawn was the dumper. And then Lauren orients the box the way that she's going to put the edge together. So
Yep.
then we each pull a tray, throw the edges in the middle. I usually finish and then grab Lauren so she can start on the edge sooner. And then from there, it's just we create little piles while Lauren does the edge. So.
And I usually try when I'm doing the edge to call out the larger chunks. Like in the first puzzle, I was like, there's a big purple butterfly, there's a big blue butterfly, so that they kind of, I know how it orients, and then they kind of know what they can pull out. But it was really hard in the second one. I'm like, there's some sharks drinking and a crab serving them. And I'm like, I don't know how to describe.
And a fish and another
and a jellyfish. Oh, there's a neon sign. I was like, there's just way too much.
We were talking with the Jack bequick team, and we could tell from the very first puzzle that they're very focused. Their conversation, their table talk is very tactical. So we asked them, and they're like, "Yep, what's this?" And then we looked over at you guys, and I was like, "I bet you their table talk is very different."
Oh yeah. I mean, the first puzzle we were doing random accents, and just Sarah kept telling us to focus. And
I was the one on the ball today.
Yeah. I'm shocked at this, that you're the one that was telling him to focus.
Sometimes I become fun police.
Yeah.
Everyone was laughing before we started, and I was so serious.
Yeah, we were
I was like, guys, this is my livelihood. This is my job. We can't mess this up.
And we just kept laughing.
Yeah, but that was also me just being funny too. Like we really don't take it that seriously.
No.
Are you saving it? Are you saving any gas in the tank for the final? Or are you just
I totally forgot we had a final.
Yeah, I was like, Andrew's like, I'm kind of sad we got third. I'm like, it was the qualifiers, so I think we're okay.
All done.
Because we didn't have one last year, right? Teams
Yeah, it was just,
so
yeah,
I think
yeah.
mentally, I was like, this is one and done. And the puzzles were so similar too, you know? So,
Yeah.
But yeah, nope, one more to go. So
Two more puzzles.
Oh yeah, one more round.
Yeah, one more team.
One more
Revenge.
chance. One more shot at the glory.
Third is still sort of glory. I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
where's the money?
Yeah, sorry. First is the only one who gets money. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. We're hoping top 10, but if we can top 5, because we've got some good contenders in this next round.
Yeah,
that I think, everyone I feel like is watching 3.5 Men to see how they do. But
right.
did you say yesterday there was going to be a switch up in the team or no?
No, I think it's a 3.5 Men team, right? Matt,
Josh, and Connor.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I think Jonathan Clough isn't on it. I think it's Matt Netlow instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kyle, Matt, Josh, and Connor.
From,
Yep.
Winter Carnival.
Yeah.
It's a different team than
Yes.
that.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys are. I feel like you're a famous team because you're all the same team. Like you guys have stuck together.
Yeah.
Like no drama in the group, no like potential
I wouldn't
spin-offs
say that.
happening.
Every time I threaten to quit working
I
for
hate
Sarah, so
Lauren.
it's fine.
It's not like a boy band situation where one of you is going to go solo and just like I'm out.
Lauren would be the one that goes solo. Nah, I think I would ruin the team first. I'd be the first.
Because you're going to retire?
Yeah, but I'm not.
That's
Not
fine.
from teams.
I couldn't do a team that needs to practice much more than we do, though.
And
Just
by
busy.
practice, you mean do
we
3
did Winter
competitions a
Carnival,
year?
and then we came here, and we didn't practice in between. Exactly.
Yeah.
It is now a
Even though
running
we're all
theme.
the
Top 3 teams
Yeah.
don't practice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, that's all three of you
That's
have that in
because
common.
They can't. They can't. We
Well,
can.
right.
We live within an hour driving
Yeah.
distance of each other.
But I think we benefit from the fact that since we have all puzzled together, puzzling as a team together doesn't necessarily make us faster. I think getting all of us individually faster is really
Agreed.
what increases our time. Like we know how each other puzzles, and we know how we puzzle together. We know who we're gonna sit by and that type of thing. So really, just each of us working on our individual skill, I think, will make the team faster.
I guess we just need to memorize the cut pattern of everything.
Yeah.
That'll make us
You're on that next, Sarah.
Nope.
I'm nominating you.
Good. I like to just put the pieces together.
I would be curious though, if anybody has analyzed 4 fast puzzlers versus a team that's puzzled together. Like how much of a difference does practicing together actually make? That's I don't know if that's a
I
question.
think you need to
know?
use like average across the board people and
Yeah.
do like people that have puzzled together for
Let's
2
design
years.
this experiment
Yeah,
right
okay.
now.
We got it.
I was going to say, you got the right person that you're talking to here, right? Rob likes stats just a little bit.
I was going to
Give
say,
your thoughts on that.
I do have thoughts on that. As a
Yeah,
matter of
yeah.
fact, it seems like, in general, individually fast puzzlers combined is what makes a fast team. Like you
More than
definitely.
anything else.
But
It seems like.
everyone is the same level. Like if there's 8 people that are all the same level, or like they're all, and the average is the same,
and 4 of them have practiced together a few times,
Yeah.
they're going to be
Absolutely.
significantly fast.
I was going to say what you gain is about 10% more in my estimation by having worked out like how do I get all these arms in here, who sits where, what is our strategy for that, right?
Yeah.
And with people who are really fast and experienced, those kinds of conversations, I imagine, are going to be easy to have, right? You already have a vernacular. You're like, okay, you know that you've got to sit over here, and like I'm going to sit over here because that's going to create a certain flow that we all need, or whatever those kind of key things are. Like you guys have that capability. So yeah, I think you're right. It's not nothing to not practice together. And for folks like your guys' team, like the top competitors teams, it's important to have that capability. And you guys have done it so often you don't have to do much but maintain. But I think that you get more by bringing together fast puzzlers.
Yeah.
Like I'm constantly seeing like a fast puzzler carry a team along really well.
Yeah.
That's how I'm here.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Are you competing next round then?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Can't wait.
That's right.
Very fun.
So I wish there was a handicapping system so that I could be like, I'm contributing to my team by virtue of being terrible and they can get some of the handicap. Did you guys know how close you were at the very end?
No.
Well, Sarah peeked a little, but
Okay,
that
I
was
peeked,
halfway
like,
through.
Halfway through. I was really good about not peeking. I didn't peek when I heard the first team finish, and I looked up.
She let us
I didn't
know.
look. I didn't look at what the puzzle was. I was like, guys, I didn't look.
Give me creds.
Please praise me for that. But I did look over at what is it, Juggernauts?
Yeah.
I looked over at them, and I was like, y'all, we gotta pick it up, because I saw them coming right up behind us, because we weren't that far ahead of them. In
7
the
seconds.
7
switchover.
seconds, yeah.
So I mean, already we were so close. So.
Yep.
But I did look over a little teeny tiny bit for 9 seconds, and
That was the whole
And
difference.
she stared at him for 9 seconds
No.
straight, and that's really what made the difference.
No, but I do think that kind of motivates you sometimes. I mean, it motivates if we're close. If they're way ahead of us, then it definitely would have.
Yeah, I feel that too. I think that I slow down when I sense like, oh, there's no hope for us.
Yeah.
But if there is hope, it's like, yeah, you're gonna like push yourself harder. Yeah.
Did they look over at us? Did they say? Were they checking us out?
No, they did. I don't think they did much. I think Alice said she peeked once, and it was hard to tell, kind of maybe, but I don't think they
that
peeked.
puzzle was. I think it would be.
It was hard for us to tell, honestly. We were watching and we're like, we couldn't tell if your gaps were kind of equal or not.
Yeah.
And because you were using trays and like they had more on the table, it was like we couldn't really tell as much like how many pieces were left. So it was a hard thing for us to gauge too. So if you'd have peeked, it probably wouldn't have helped very much. Yeah. I will say I wanted to give a shout out because we have the travel influencers in this round. They're all teamed up, Team World Travelers, and I saw they just finished their first 1,000. So congrats to them.
Sweethearts.
Yes, because
So nice.
they're so nice, and I think that that's like a huge thing for them because they haven't ever participated in something like 1,000-piece contests. I know this is a first for them. And then it's 4 people that know each other but just met and like are just now teaming up for fun. So the fact that they did 1,000-piece in a little over 2 hours is really awesome.
that is.
So I'm glad they're on to the second puzzle. So shout out to them. I know they have lots of fans in the chat. And we just saw them finish the first one. And there were lots of smiles and laughter. So it looked like they were excited to be like, hey, we did one. And now we're on to the next one.
Yeah, we'll have to check in and see where they are a bit later.
Yeah,
See
yeah.
I need to check in on my mom's team.
Oh, have
Where
you?
they're at.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them.
I haven't seen them for a little bit. Who's she competing with?
With one of Lauren's friends.
Yep.
And then 2 people that come from Minnesota that are at my contests.
Oh, very
they're
cool.
On the second
Kate
puzzle.
and
I can
Jeff.
see 'em
Yeah.
right there.
It's-
Nice.
Yep. Jeff, Kate, Sam, and Lisa are all together
Oh,
on
very
Fit Happens.
cool.
2 tables behind us.
I
Yep,
keep-
they were right behind us.
I keep forgetting if people want to give shout outs to their family or people that are watching. So you should.
I'd love to shout out, my mom is watching, I know, and she's got a bunch of high school friends that have all declared themselves to be my fan club.
Aw.
And so
Cool.
they're watching from various places around the country. So yeah, really appreciate you guys being on.
I'll shout out all the people watching online. I know my mom and dad are both tuning in,
Oh,
and they've been
nice.
sending me screenshots of the stream when we're on it. So very fun.
Nice.
I don't know if my niece and dad are watching, but Gracelyn and dad and my dogs
Nice.
They were watching.
I know my family's watching. My husband and 2 boys. My brother Mike, he texted me to tell me I had to shout him out. So hi, Mike. He was going to the bar and he was going to get the bar to play.
Yes. That's
the live
fantastic.
stream. Please don't. So I made sure he did. And then my mom and dad.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, you guys are so fun to watch and talk to. So I'm sure hopefully we'll
Thanks,
see you back
guys.
again.
Yeah,
but
fingers
yes, go
crossed.
enjoy your rest of your day and congratulations. Nice work.
Thank you.
So, Rob just pulled up the results tab on the worldjigsawpuzzle.org site. And shockingly, 9-second difference between the Juggernauts and the Betches team. That is close. I hope
Yeah.
it's that close in the final. Won't that be amazing?
It would, yeah. I love the nail biters. I love when you just aren't really sure what's going to happen, and then somebody pulls it out and they make it across the line first. Yeah, this is the best case scenario for me. That being said, I also just love seeing people just do amazing things. And so completing 2 jigsaw 1,000 pieces in an hour and 19 for Jack bequick, stunning.
Right? It is stunning. What was the time for the Juggernauts?
The Juggernauts were, it looks like about 5 minutes behind it, hour 23, hour 24-ish. Yeah, and then the Betches were there at an hour 24:07. So it was an hour 23:58 versus an hour 24:07. And it looks like we've got War and Peace after that, finishing at an hour 48. Odd Birds after that at 1:52. And then local folks, the Cherry Blossom Challengers, at an hour 53. So there's the top 6 right there. Looks like we have results going down to 13 so far, at least it looks like on worldjigsawpuzzle.org, if you want to look at the results there. So a lot of people finishing fairly quickly. 2,000s in under about 2 hours. That's a pretty great rate.
Yeah, that's incredible. I was going to say, I think, do you have the next heat, the team's heat 2 that we can, I was trying to find it in my stack here. I think you've got it handy. Because I want to think about who are we looking at, because we were just talking about this next heat, and it's going to be a fun one to watch as well. And we have some really good puzzlers in that round too. So it'll be interesting to see how their times compare. Obviously, it's different puzzles. I should make that widely known. So they're not going to be doing these same two. So it's a little hard to compare times across divisions. But yeah, who are we looking at for the next round?
So we've got Wicked Quick, 3.5 men. So Wicked Quick is Mari Black, Sammy Brownlow, Emily Chandran, and Emma Pan. 3.5 men with Kyle Cosson, Matthew Netlow, Josh Traeger, and Connor Delatte, young Connor, as we like to call him. And then after that is Flip Sort Cry, with, which
That's a new team name I've not heard before. Flip Sort Cry is pretty
Tiffany
good.
Medeiros, Kat Dilks, Gray Rogers, and Simi Bowman.
Oh, now that's lovely because I feel like Gray and Kat are kind of royalty because they were the first U.S. team to get on the dais at the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships in 2022, and so they've been around. We've seen them at nationals every time, and I just love seeing that they're like with Tiffany now, and this is like a new configuration.
Yes.
But I just love that they're going to be in the mix there, so that's great.
I went to the Nationals 2022, and we were volunteering, so we were on the floor during the individuals finals. And I walked past Gray, and she was seemed like she was doing puzzling and yoga simultaneously. So it's always stuck with me. Every time I see her, I'm like, oh, you're the person who can do more than one thing at a time. I asked Tiffany about what their name meant, and there appears to be no actual knowledge of what the name meant. Apparently, maybe Kat is the one who came up with it. I sort of think of it as like live, laugh, love.
Yeah,
maybe.
Probably. Yep. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and then we've got the Puzzle Ostriches, and that's got E.B. Karen, Michaela Keener, Allie Andrell, excuse my voice, and
That's all right.
Andrea Heistand.
Okay, yeah. So in other words, when you come back for the next team round, you're going to have right in the front again, like 4 teams right out of the gate that are very impressive, who've all like placed in the very top in different, EB was on the first U.S. championship team, came in first. So that's another kind of fun thing about this is there's different configurations again of people, but they've all kind of been in that top 5 in the country in the past, and except for the Connor team, that's going to be really an interesting one because it's all like none of them have puzzled together at a nationals before, and it'll just be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, Josh and Connor did such a great job in pairs yesterday. Obviously, Kyle and Matt are strong. It'd be great to see how they all do together. I'm really excited to see sort of the return of Michaela Keener.
Yes,
she's been out of the scene for about a year.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see how she's going to do. I didn't get a chance to catch how she did in individuals or pairs.
She did really well because she was up here and talking to us.
Oh, all right. So she did well enough then. Yeah,
she did great. Yep. Yeah, Michaela's been, number 2 in the world with Sarah in pairs. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. A lot of really interesting, fun things that could happen in that next round.
Yep. I'm watching the action here. I mean, mostly what we're seeing is people working on the Dean McAdam artwork, the Ocean Lounge puzzle. So a lot of people have finished that first Ingrid Slider puzzle and have moved on to the second. It'll be really interesting to see when we get final results after this round is over, after the 3 hours, to see how many of them managed to get both of them completed.
I believe if the worldjigsawpuzzle.org's results are to be believed, that all teams have finished the first puzzle.
Oh, wow, really?
And the last team to finish it did it in 1 hour and 57. So we're actually well into the second puzzle for everyone.
Oh, that's fantastic. It could be that there's a few more because I think we have about close to 100 teams. So maybe they're just not listed until they do finish the first one. Yeah, maybe.
Still 75 out of 100 teams.
Yeah, 75 out of 100. That's really good.
The first puzzle.
Yeah, that's great.
And how far down are we on the second puzzle? Looks like we've got 18 teams who finished the second puzzle.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
I can tell today. Yesterday, I think as an organizer, you're so like worried about, okay, is this going to go right? You know, is this going to go off without a hitch on the first day? Because it's a new space, it's a new team, it's a new crew, like in terms of the live stream and everything else. And now today, I feel just kind of relaxed. And I'm just like, hey, maybe we should have a little puzzle going here, Rob. while we're chilling at the commentary desk.
I don't know about that. First of all, I'm still going through puberty, and that's rough for me right now. But also, for those of you who aren't aware, like Val is doing 12 things simultaneously right now, and if anybody who knows me knows that I have trouble doing one thing at a time, like at all. So Val could 100% be doing like puzzle chess or something like that.
I will say, I think I can't hold a candle to Becca Taylor on that front. She is the multitasker of all time, because when we have our USA JPA board meetings, she'll have a computer up, she's looking at the agenda, she's puzzling, and she's like taking notes at the same time. And I'm always like, how are you doing this, Becca? She's just a phenomenal organizer. Whereas myself, and I feel like Heather and Allie, we're just like staring at numerous documents, you know, like while we're having meetings. But yeah, Becca's always got a puzzle going during our meetings, which I love. But I'm just getting the urge. It's just getting hard to not have my hands on a puzzle right now.
Have you puzzled since you've been here?
No, of course not. No. A few of the board members have taken a moment to like do a 100-piecer or sit down with somebody and relax at a puzzle, but I have not.
So we've got another team who's getting
I'm a bit of a procrastinator, so I'll just tell the world I still have a gazillion things to do before tomorrow for opening ceremonies. So
closing ceremonies?
Or sorry, closing ceremonies.
I was like, are we doing this all again?
No, closing ceremonies.
There's somebody, looks like a shape sort there we just saw.
Oh, interesting. That could be helpful, actually, with that Dean puzzle, which is so busy.
Yeah, and I'm very much more a shape-oriented
Oh, you are?
person. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's one of those things that you always have to fight against, right? Is that some if you have a good, diverse set of folks on your team, some folks are going to be very like, I need the pieces to stay where they are because I sort of know where all the pieces are. And as soon as you start shape sorting it, it sort of throws everything out of whack. So it's always in tension about like, when do you actually start shape sorting? And that's a sink of time, right? You're putting a lot of time into doing that.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me is I never want to start doing it, and I always do it too late because all I can think about is the time I'm going to spend sorting them, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it. And so, but ultimately you're going to save a bunch of time, especially if you do it at the optimal moment when you're struggling and you need to start doing something to help you distinguish and get things in faster.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I always forget and is challenging to remember in these kinds of competitions where you're, especially a team all in one place, is how much value you can get by moving around the puzzle. Like if you're stuck, like if you move from one side to the other side, seeing it just from the other point of view often unlocks just a ton of things. Now, you got a trade-off of the fact that you're moving around and you've got to reorient. But usually, much like with shape sorting, it's worth the sort of loss in productivity you get in the near term for the sort of burst that you get right after that.
Yeah, no, it's a great calculation, I think, to figure out of like, okay, when does that make sense? I am impressed by people who are fast at shape sorting, and that's like a skill to practice. And I feel like some people are really good at it. Like they'll just grab a handful of pieces and they just quickly like deal them into, you know, how they shape sort it.
Interesting.
I'm like I feel like I'm so slow at it. And I feel like I'm also terrible at guesstimating like, okay, I'm going to put these over here and then I run out of room. And then now I have another pile of that same shape over in another place. Or I'm like, oh, I got to move these now. And that's why I waste so much time. But that's where tray management, honestly, and we talk about that a lot on our team, is like space management becomes a thing of like, how do you use the trays? Where do you put things? How are you making sure that you're not just moving pieces around constantly and wasting a ton of time in that process?
Yeah, that is the challenge, is that like, if you are a very speedy team, every time you touch a piece is a wasted time if it's not going where it's supposed to go. So like, you can imagine that like the top teams, like with people who have the kind of spatial manipulation brains where they know, like we were talking with, I think the Juggernauts about sort of pick and place, where you just pick up a piece, you know where it goes physically, and so you just put it in the space where that would be on your board. Like if you don't have that kind of brain, like if you have those kinds of brains, some of these tactics aren't really useful for you because you just know and you're just filling in the things. But if you're not like that, like these other capabilities, these other skills are things you need to practice and can help move you along if you get stuck.
Yeah. I think another piece of it, and that's something interesting too, so like different teams have different styles in terms of that pick and place. So like when Kelly and Andrea and Jean and Kathy kind of talk about how they will pick a piece and just kind of go, I know this goes in this area, and they kind of set it in that area. My team has always been where we like the thing to be clear unless stuff is attached, right? So it's like, don't just stick random pieces in there approximately where they go, because we want to only have things to build off of that are in the frame.
That's right.
And so we kind of don't do that strategy at all. And it's making me second guess, honestly, about the wisdom of that technique, because apparently it's fast and it's working really well for them to just, be willing to do that.
It's working for them. Puzzling is definitely a process of finding what works best for the combination of people you have in front of you, and so could be a great strategy. It's definitely worth trying. It's always worth trying a new approach.
Right.
And you have to try it a few times, because the first time you're not going to be very good at it.
Right.
You're going to throw it out. But it may not work for everybody, and that's why you have to try all kinds of different things.
I remember a long time ago, it was probably, more than 5 years ago, I was just like on YouTube surfing around like to see are people posting jigsaw puzzle content, because there really wasn't that much. I feel like now there's like 30 channels that I subscribe to that are like puzzle influencers, puzzles, puzzle content creators that are doing really cool things. But back then, not so much. And I remember looking up, jigsaw puzzles and getting to a feed, and it was a channel, and I wish I remembered the name, but it's been so long. But it was a guy who would film himself doing puzzles. And he did the Dead Reckoning thing, where he just literally didn't take the puzzle pieces out of the box, didn't dump it at all, just picked a piece and set it approximately where it was going to go in the frame. He didn't build the frame either. So and then as the stuff, you're building it out and you're setting it in place, it all starts to connect. And it was so foreign to me, that notion of doing a whole puzzle that way. But the guy was incredibly fast, because he just had such good I mean, obviously some puzzles that's not going to work. If you have a big flat sky, you can't do that. But if you have a super detailed puzzle where you're going to be able to pretty much guesstimate where every piece goes, it was incredibly fast way to do it. So I tried it. I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. Big mistake. I don't have the spatial relation skills to approximately know where it would go in the frame, but this person had clearly mastered that. And I was like thinking, well, this will go here. And basically a puzzle that was maybe like, 28 inches across was taking up like 40 inches of space, because I had no sense of
I have
how
the
big it
opposite.
would be.
I'm always making them smaller than
Oh,
they are,
really?
and so that's why I want to do the edges, because at least now I know like it
That's
confines
me
the
too.
space that
Me
I'm playing
too.
in.
Yep.
There is a person out of Portland who's on the Puzzle Sharks, actually.
Okay.
It's Davey Black, who did a recent speedpuzzling.com puzzle primarily by Dead Reckoning the whole thing. And he doesn't flip the pieces.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he flips as he goes.
What?
So he dead reckons and doesn't flip. And I'm like, that is 180% of the things I don't have. I could do neither one of those things.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
So
that's
when you're watching
crazy.
the Puzzle Sharks, well, they're doing it as a team, so you
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
wouldn't do
yeah.
it that way. But
Wow. Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, it's a different skill set. But I mean, some people that just works really, I mean, Andrea is somebody that really likes that style, Andrea Peng, and that's kind of how she does it. And having puzzled with her at the 24-hour marathon, I watched and was just sort of like, this is just not how I do it. Yeah, I saw it up close and I was like, okay, I can tell right away you and I have such different styles and skill sets. But I mean, it was fascinating. I had such a good time puzzling with her and just getting to watch. Honestly, I was excited to be on a team with her to just kind of see how she does it.
I have to say, I'm glancing up, and again, it's to me, the best parts of the puzzling, like watching puzzling, is the first like 2 minutes and then the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking up and I'm seeing everybody like get those last ones, and it's just so satisfying to watch. Like they're fast. Like the pieces generally have figured themselves out, and I'm just like, yeah, go get those in there.
Yeah,
And
right.
Then when it's all complete, I'm like, yes,
Yep.
yes.
I mean, we have 27 minutes to go approximately, so people definitely are going to be scrambling trying to get that second puzzle done.
I'm gonna take a quick look and see if we have updated
Usually,
numbers.
Allie will give them. Oh, yep, there's another one. 76 have completed now. But yeah, usually Allie will give them about a 5-minute warning so they kind of have an idea that we're getting close to the end. But yeah, when you're intent, you're not paying attention to the timer. The timer's huge in the room, but you're really not looking at it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a team. They're almost done. They're so close. So we're going to finish this round at around 1 o'clock, and then we are back. Oh, let me double check the time so I don't get it wrong. Yep, we are back at 2 for the next team's heat from 2 to 5. Then we take a little longer break. And then this evening, gosh, you'd think I'd have this memorized, right? This evening we're back with the pairs final at, what, I can't read.
I have to say the second pairs preliminaries yesterday was challenging in part because it was just so late.
Right.
Like you guys, like you said, you have a finite time that you have to get all this stuff in there, and so they have to run late, and we were feeling it in that second one. Absolutely.
Yeah, yesterday was a long day for people, I think. But yeah, the pairs finals at 6. So we're done early tonight. We're done at like 7:30.
Nice.
You had asked me earlier about the puzzles from yesterday. You had questions.
Yeah.
For the 3 individual preliminary rounds yesterday.
So you guys, it seemed like there was an intentional theme. Is that true? Like last year, it felt like there was an intentional theme this year?
Yeah, there kind of was. I don't know, though. I really didn't come into this going, oh, yeah, we're doing all flower puzzles. I didn't. It was because we had a ton of options for the individual prelims because we traditionally do look at doing stock imagery for a lot of the prelim rounds versus the artist image. So, yeah, we had a lot of choices for the individual rounds. So I feel like when we narrowed it down, we weren't all like, oh, we want them all to be it was just sort of like, oh, that would make a good one, and oh, that would make a good one. Probably when we picked the third one, maybe we were kind of like, oh, let's stick with the flower thing, but I don't really remember. It's a blur. I mean, because it is so long ago. I think it was probably 6 months or more ago that we were looking at all this stuff and deciding.
So my recollection is that this competition came together more last minute than they have historically because opportunities arose that you guys weren't expecting.
Yes.
So how did that play into A, your planning, but B, like getting puzzles together and figured out? Because I know that some have historically taken a long lead time.
Yeah. No, sometimes it's like we've got 11 months or more, where we're planning the puzzles for the next nationals.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last one we held in 2024, and we did 2022, 2024. We are fully going to give ourselves a year break and then be back in 2026.
Right.
And then Ravensburger, they are such an enthusiastic partner. So of course they're just like, well, we should do it every year, right? And we're like, what? We're like, but that takes a year to plan, and we just got done with one, and we're all doing this volunteer, and we all have jobs, and Heather has kids, and we're all busy people. So, it was a little like, wait, do we want to do that in 2025? And then Ravensburger basically was like, well, what if it was part of this bigger thing, and all you needed to do was the competition? You didn't need to worry about putting on a whole convention and having exhibitors and having sponsors and all this other stuff. It was just you and just us, and we partnered, and we were like, okay, yeah, that sounds more doable. and we could do that. And so we agreed to do it, and it was like it's been a whirlwind ever since.
I was going to say, from the moment you said yes, I imagine it was like, okay, well, here we go.
Right? Yeah.
Like, there's no,
yeah,
like,
because
we're already behind.
Right? Exactly. Because I think we kind of figured out maybe in May or something like that. You know, we did the last one. I think it was in April, and then it was like a month or so later we're deciding whether we're going to do one in 2025. And so yeah, it was a bit of a, you know, okay, let's give this a shot. I mean, there's still all of those convention things happening here. There's still puzzle exhibitors, and there's puzzle chess and sprints and all those things happening in a different area. We're just not really in charge of it.
Right.
Which is lovely. I mean, another thing that's happened in the interim is now we have all these like state associations forming.
Yeah, I'm super curious to hear how that's going.
So it's going incredibly well because we launched it, and then within weeks we had like 18 states asking about forming associations.
And, you know,
we kind of thought we'd get a couple.
I feel like I say this sort of ad nauseum, so forgive me, but I feel like a lot of the people who compete in competitive jigsaw puzzling are amazing individuals. Like you get a high preponderance of like women in STEM doing like doctors, like it's all amazing. And then
organizers.
But that's the thing is that when you started creating the state things, I'm seeing all these amazing people sort of sort themselves into additional responsibility. I've met many of the people who are doing the state level, like trying to create those and make those happen, and they're all amazing people. I'm like, how do you find all of these great people to make this happen?
No, it's really coming together. I mean, we have 18 states that have expressed interest and kind of started making motions towards, you know, getting a group going. And what's nice about that is that it's giving us more to draw from as well. So for this event, when Ravensburger is suddenly like, well, you know, it would be nice if we had some things going on in the exhibit hall, and we're sort of like, wait a second, you know, we agreed to the competition. And, you know, it's a wonderful problem to have, right? That they're so enthusiastic and supportive and they want to do all this stuff. But what was great is we were able to go, well, hey, there's a DC group. There's a state group nearby. Maybe they would want to help with that. And of course, they were just like, yeah, like give us the stuff. We'll do it. So all of this stuff has kind of come together because some of those state associations are starting to jump in and get involved, which is really lovely.
Nice.
Yeah, I imagine someday, I mean, we're already kind of thinking that that's going to take a lot of pressure off of us to have state groups because people will have more local opportunities and things that they can be doing locally. And we can just maybe focus more on nationals and not so much for example, like we have a traveling puzzle program. States are starting to look at doing that because then the shipping would be a lot easier, right? You're not having to ship as far. It doesn't cost as much. So maybe that's something that eventually all the states are kind of doing, and we're doing less of that kind of thing. So it'll evolve over time, I'm sure. And I mean, we a lot of times look at other organizations like the chess, you know, state or national chess, you know, association, because they have state orgs and, you know, and so it could eventually evolve to where we're just kind of doing the very kind of higher level national championships, and the state orgs are doing all the other kind of fun social swaps, you know, traveling puzzles, you know, fun
you guys
competitions.
Were bootstrapping the entire community. And now the community is sort of able to take on a lot of those parts itself.
Exactly.
But none of that forgives you giving me a puzzle with no discernible edge capability in round one of individuals. There's the flowers all the way around. I'm like, there's nothing I can do with this.
I knew that was going to be a fun one to throw out right at the beginning.
I almost did throw it out. Yeah.
Really? Because you're like, wait, I'm an edge person, and now you've made it impossible to do the edge. Thanks a lot.
I felt personally picked on by that puzzle.
Sorry.
It's like edge and sky and water. Yeah, all right. I have to let that one go.
It couldn't be helped. We had to do it. I mean, Cherry Blossom Festival right now, and it's a DC image. Like, we had to do it.
Yeah. How do you, when you're picking out puzzles for a competition, that is notoriously a difficult thing, right? It's hard to figure out what is a fast, like you can look at some and see, but it is often surprising which kinds of puzzles are fast and which kinds of puzzles are slow, counter to what you might have thought. So like you must be becoming an expertise in that area. Like how do you look at these puzzles and be like, we think this is going to be an easy one. Are you surprised very often anymore?
I'm surprised occasionally. The Elspeth one from last year was a surprise because it all being basically various shades of blue with the orange exception worried me, but then it turned out to be just fine. But yeah, I feel like I've gotten good at it because I mean, I haven't just been doing national championships. I've been organizing stuff since like 2005 or, you know, so it's been like 20 years of doing contests. So I feel like I've gotten pretty good at it. I mean, but there's still debate within our group because everybody has stuff that they feel like is easier than, you know, I might feel like if I'm looking at a landscape with a sky that doesn't have a real obvious gradient, I might be like, ooh, that looks rough. But then other people that love a sky or love nature puzzles are like, oh, no, there's enough variation there. That's not going to be that bad, you know. So there's slight differences of opinion, but I do feel like everybody on our board has done so many contests that we all are pretty clear on like what will for sure work and what maybe won't.
Do you have it in your head like what percent of people you want to actually finish a particular puzzle? Because I know that you're not looking for you're looking for it to be challenging enough that the competition doesn't run its course in the first half hour.
Yeah. Right.
But also it can be challenging for a lot of folks to get a really difficult puzzle, especially when you're still in the mode of trying to encourage everybody to come and participate.
Right.
And get like at Portland Jigsaw Masters, we had puzzles there that people found particularly frustrating. And even though I did not have anything to do with puzzle choice, people were yelling at me about how hard the puzzles were. So like people can be really frustrated by puzzle choice. So how do you balance that?
Right. I've been a part of competitions where we've given them a hard one and had regrets because I do feel bad for folks that just kind of want to give up. I think if you can have this balance between, you know, it's not going to be frustrating, it might be slower, but it's going to still, you're going to still be able to keep going. That's important.
That's true.
But I think too for nationals, it's a slightly different calculation. If I'm doing something for like a local library contest or just like a community type of event or fundraiser, there I'm really going to work hard to get a puzzle that I calculate most everybody is going to finish. I think at this event there are a lot of first timers, especially being here at AwesomeCon, because you have a different crowd that was like already maybe planning to be here and are just kind of adding on this experience. But because it's a national championship, I do feel like you have to give it a bit of more of a challenge. You don't want to I don't want to have like these top puzzlers coming in, and as exciting as it would be for them to all get like a personal record and finish in like under 30 or something. To me, it's more interesting if you're giving them something that's a slight challenge. So I think we're all on board with that as a board in general when we look at the art, to be like, you know, we don't want this to be a cakewalk necessarily, right? Like, you're at the national championship, want you to work for it a little bit.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, right? I do think Flower Shop, I felt mean.
You know,
Flower Boutique or whatever yesterday.
I saw some stats. I think I forget.
Oh, have you seen? Yeah.
It was I want to say like Molly Puzzles on Instagram did a quick shot, and I think EB Karen passed it along. So if you're looking for it, but it showed the sort of average and median time and a number of finishers for each of those puzzles, and it was great. I love that. And it showed that the third puzzle, the Flower Shop one, was the hardest, but only just.
Oh, really?
Compared
Okay.
to the first one.
So really?
Yeah, the second one was
interesting.
a lot more people finished.
Yeah.
The times were faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the Flower Shop one, which I looked at and I was like, as more of a kind of novice, I looked at it and was like, okay, there's things that I can differentiate colored, like tonally.
Yep.
But then I watched like them dump the puzzle out. And I'm like, oh yeah, you forget that when you're looking at a completed picture, and you're looking at 100 or 500 or 1,000 parts of that completed picture, it's a very different feeling.
Yeah.
So I think you know, my initial enthusiasm for that third one was probably misplaced.
No, that's interesting that you say that, because that's something too, and I've done that before when I'm sitting at the table and I'm looking at the box, is that I'll open it up and look at the pieces and then go, oh, now what am I looking at? Because sometimes these really colorful, busy ones, you dump the pieces out and it's just all these pieces with like little bits of color all over them, and there's like no way to sort, no way to really differentiate. And that was Flower Shop, as I felt like you dumped it out, and when we could see it on people's tables, it was like, oh, that's a lot of puzzles with, or a lot of pieces with bits of green on them.
That's right. It's a flower.
Yeah,
Like, it's another flower.
there's another green
It's a part
plant,
of a
and there's
flower.
another leaf. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it was a bit challenging. I felt, but that's interesting that you say that it wasn't that much more challenging than the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not telling you should make them that challenging. To be very clear. Looks like we're at 40 teams can complete.
This is
Probably a little
great.
more,
That's fantastic.
And it looks like the Team World Travelers have maybe finished.
Oh no, I can't. Really?
No, finished their first puzzle.
Oh yeah, no, they did finish their first puzzle.
There is a result for them, which maybe suggests that they've just finished their
Maybe
first
they
puzzle.
just did the first one.
And then maybe they had some other things they needed.
Yeah, maybe. That also wouldn't surprise me. I've seen that happen at Worlds quite a bit, where a team gets done and they're like, they look at the thing and they make the decision, yeah, we could be done.
That's right.
We maybe won't get this one done in a half hour. Let's just nope out of here and
lunch.
Yeah, exactly, lunch. Everybody that is finishing looks relieved.
Done your job.
Yeah, they are like, okay, let's go have lunch. I am ready to take a nap. That is a long time to be focused so intently on something. And I know that now after doing the puzzle marathon, of how draining it is to be sitting, because we tried to give each other sleep blocks that were like 5 hours long. So all of us had a stretch in the middle of the night where we were doing a 5 hour, like, intently going.
Wow.
And that is rough. 5 hours straight is
Love
without a
continuous
break
focus,
is yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, were you standing the whole time? Like, that just seems like a back cruncher all by itself.
We occasionally we'd stand towards the end when we were going to be making a transition of like dumping and stuff, but like most of the time we were all sitting. Like you couldn't have really done that for very long.
Yeah,
it was more your butt got sore, so you did stand sometimes.
I'm seeing just this overall over and over again pattern of like wide diffuse spaces everywhere. Like it's not an area that's knocking people down. It's like the continuous, like you get all the characters in, I imagine.
Yep.
And then you've got like this kind of bluish areas and this grayish areas and this yellowish areas. And it's like probably, I'm guessing a lot of black too.
Yeah.
I've been surprised to see how many people take a while to complete the bottom right. There's sort of like a skeleton under in a diving mask.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's actually interesting too. Yeah.
It has to do with
because it
like
seems really
grays.
distinctive.
It
Yeah.
does.
Another thing I'll say too, and it's smart, is when I see teams that have made an effort to put all their remaining pieces in kind of one area. I mean, that can make it a little hard because people are having to reach or like get around. But it can be helpful in that you don't have this like neglected pile over in the corner that now, you're having to move on from. But I do think this is where trays are really good to have.
Yeah.
Because like I'm seeing some puzzlers out there right now that are really having to like kind of walk around and just get at the pieces. So if you had a tray and could just set it in front of everybody, that makes it a lot easier.
As I said, that's what I loved about what the Betches did is they just brought a tray, set it down, and it's a nice orange tray. It's not easily confused with anything else.
Yep.
And everybody could just work on the pieces from there.
Mm-hmm.
It is challenging in a 4-person just to like if you're not where the pieces are.
Yeah.
Then you've got to reach all the way across the puzzle, and then reaching across the puzzle puts you in somebody else's way, or you've got to, like you said, go around. In which case you're burning huge amounts of time. So piece placement can be really challenging.
Oh, I feel like the energy has gone up in here. People maybe are a little aware that we're getting down there. We've got 8 minutes to go, and I think there's a lot of chatter happening. A lot of people kind of going into overdrive, maybe a little bit, to try to get their finish in under the wire.
Yeah, there's something weirdly motivating about the time coming to an end. And I'm always like, how come I couldn't do that like 10 minutes earlier?
Right?
Like, where was this burst of speed?
Where was the energy a little bit ago?
Just tell me 10 minutes before we're actually 10 minutes out that I'm done and that we're running out of time, and I'll burst then.
Yeah, there's another one that's going to get done. I think, we're looking at a few on different cameras here that are definitely within striking range of getting them both done under the time. Oh, Fit Happens is one of the ones that's like, they're just so close, yeah.
I thought Fit Happens had already finished. There's some folks still working on the first puzzle. Yeah, for me. Yeah, we're seeing some people finishing up the first puzzle, and for me, it's like that's the like expectation versus reality meme, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'll totally knock that thing out. It seems doable, and then like 2 hours later, you're still slogging through it.
Yep. I'm curious in the chat. I've seen a lot of people sticking with us the whole time. Love to see it.
Nice job. Well, I always find that the most fun people to cheer for are the ones who are right on the cusp of finishing right at the end.
Yes. Oh, I know. And I've been at so many of these contests when the crowd is really rooting for those, you can do it. And the same with the chat where everybody's like, go, go, go. Like, get this, you got this. Yep, exactly. Somebody just said something's fishy with that puzzle.
There's another person with pieces on their hand, just available for everybody to look at. Oh, is that Lisa?
Oh, was it? I love that they had a black tray that they were using that, or a little bit ago we saw. Oh yeah, you might be right. That could be Lisa's team.
Lisa Schuler?
Yeah, Sarah's mom. Puzzle goblins are in there.
Looks like we got a team here who's got the edge for the second one up and running. How do you guys determine who sits at which tables?
Oh, good question. So we go by the data. We try to. I mean, we're looking at JPAR ranking. We're looking at, participation in past championships, world championships, nationals, and then just making and it's same with heats. We try to even it out so that we kind of have everybody ranked, and then it's just sort of every other one, just like this one's heat A, B, A, B, and just kind of go down the list so it's sort of somewhat even. So that's really what it's about. I mean, there's a lot of folks we don't have data for.
Yeah.
So then we're just throwing them in there and see what happens. But for the ones that we have some indication, and I mean, you have a gazillion stats that you're going off of, and, on the My Speed Puzzling, if we can find things there, or speedpuzzling.com, we use those. That's mostly faith and people who are really good at Excel, which is not me.
Keep on puzzling, everyone. This is your 3-minute warning. You've got 3 more minutes
I was expecting.
to keep puzzling
so
as
Faith
fast
and Heather
as you
kind of
can.
compile
You
all
can
the
do
stats.
this. You got this.
and
We
then
get a
figure
little
it
cheer
out.
from the crowd to encourage these guys to finish strong. Woo woo! Yeah. All right, keep on puzzling.
Allie's giving them some words of encouragement here as they get down to the last couple of minutes. I'm gonna start my thank yous because I feel like I have lots of people to thank. Of course, Ravensburger, because good gets, like, they are so amazing with providing all the puzzles, the live stream. You know, they're here with the giant booth. They've got a booth downstairs.
Making the whole thing happen.
Yes, making the whole thing possible. So we want to thank Ravensburger for all of their support, the Awesome Con folks for hosting and letting us be a part of their big event and featuring us and just encouraging all these people to kind of discover the sport of speed puzzling, the live stream crew from On Services, obviously all of our volunteers. I mean, these guys are walking around for 3 hours on their feet without sitting and just monitoring as we go, and it's a big job. So we want to give them all a shout out. And then, of course, all of the people watching, thanks so much for joining us for this round of puzzling. It's been super fun to look at your comments in the chat and see you encouraging all of our puzzlers here. And then, of course, I got to thank Rob. How was it, Rob? This is your first time at the Nationals live stream desk.
It was a
Are
blast.
you hooked?
Oh, yeah. I am. Yeah, I will be back anytime you
You're
have me.
gonna be
Hopefully-
back.
Hopefully with a better voice. But
Well,
yeah.
wait. I have to ask, are you going to be back for the individual final? Because we were going to have you and Sarah here at the desk. Did you
Yes.
make it into the individual final?
I appreciate you. I appreciate the thought.
I didn't know. I
did
hadn't
not.
looked.
No, I did not make it into the individuals final.
Okay, well, so
I
you'll
will
be here.
And
Okay.
that will be a fun conversation. You, me, and Sarah.
Yes.
Is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of knowledge, a lot of excitement,
Mhm.
and a lot of chatter is my guess.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Sarah, yeah. She can talk.
Yeah.
I have no concerns about the next round of
I
teams
was gonna
because
say,
you get
she's
her
next
and
to
I
you.
together. And, yeah, we've got a long history of knowing each other and we can talk for hours. But we want to thank everybody for being here. And, yeah, it's been a blast. Thanks so much, Rob.
Thanks for having me, Val.
Yeah. We're going to go to Allie in just a moment for the final countdown. And thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you at the next round at 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back. Oh, are we going to have anybody?
Ooh, cheers at the end.
Oh, anybody yet?
They're so close. They're so close.
2, 1, hands up!
Allie almost missed it.
Hands up! Great job,
Thanks, everybody.
everyone! Give yourselves a round of applause. Great job, everyone.